This is Chicago Hockey Radio with your hosts, Justin Lynch, Charlie Weber, Natalie Chibi, and Andrew Nolan.
Welcome, everybody. Wednesday show of CHR. We got a big one on the way today. Charlie, Nolan, Natalie, myself, and Greg Boysen from Second Balcony Podcast, Blackhawk Upwriting. We are so excited to have him on. One of our favorite CHR guests is back for year two once again. How are you doing, Greg? Do we got you?
Yeah, you guys get way too excited for me. It's slightly over.
No, for sure. No, I think we're not excited enough, honestly.
I think it's warranted.
Absolutely. I think just to start off, just let us know how you're doing. How are your new gigs going? Yeah.
So far, so good. Excited to start the season, but I'm doing my writing is now available over at Blackhawk Up. Got a great team working with me over there, so that's going to be really good. We're going to pump out a lot of good content. Still credentialed this year, so nothing's really going to change. Started the Second Balcony Podcast with my old pal Frank Nova from the old school days of the Blackhawk world. While you guys were probably in grade school, we were cranking out on these things called blogs. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I think I've heard of them. Yeah.
Right. Not as old as newspapers, but almost as old as newspapers. He ran a site called Hockey Night back in the day, which was a big influence on me. So really looking forward to talking once a week with Frank. And I'll also be doing the post-game shows on CHGO after all home games this year too. So a busy season, but that's what we want.
Awesome. Really glad to hear that. That's great. I think the first kind of area to start here at this Blackhawks team is what training camp storylines are you going to be most looking at? Hawks start training camp tomorrow. What are you kind of looking for there?
Well, that's good timing because I literally just published a article on what I'm looking for at training camp.
No way.
On Blackhawk Up.
There
So
you go.
thanks for the free plug. It's going to be interesting because for the first time in a while, there's going to be legitimate roster battles. The last few years, it's kind of been like, yeah, we know, you bringing in your placeholder veterans, they're gonna play, but now there's some more open spots for some of these young players to grab a position. Maybe not as many as some want. When you break down the roster, you kind of go, oh, okay. Up front, forward wise, there's really only 3 open spots. You have your 9 guys that for sure are locks. The 10th guy there is probably Sam Lafferty. You don't trade for him to not make the opening night roster. And I think if he's still on the team, you have Lucas Reichel will be on the opening night roster if he's still a Blackhawk. That remains to be seen. But I don't think they're going to try and put him through waivers and lose him for absolutely nothing. That makes no sense. So that gives you 3 spots if you're going to carry 2 extra forwards. So, 2 guys that I'm really going to watch for and hope that they step it up are Colton Dock and Landon Slaggert. I mean, they're 2 guys that I think Blackhawk fans like a lot. They're good kids. They bring certain things to this team that others don't, but they need to really have big seasons, and starting tomorrow, it's got to kick in for those guys. Because if you look at this prospect pool, they're only going to get passed up if they don't step it up. So those are the 2 guys I'll be watching for sure. And then you have like Oliver Moore and Ryan Green. I think one of those 2 guys will be on the opening night roster. So it's going to come down to what Jeff Blashill really wants out of this team. And you also have to consider those first 2 games of the season are against the Florida Panthers and Boston Bruins, 2 veteran teams that play heavy hockey. You're probably going to see Doc Slaggert and Ryan Green out of camp, but lots of things can happen.
Yeah, no, very true. I mean, look at this roster. I like the prospects of it being a younger team all season, kind of like what we saw in March and April. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I much prefer to see these camp battles happening than, Davidson relying on the veterans that he brought in the offseason. This is what we're here for the rebuild, to see who's got it. Speaking of Moore and Green, I just wanted to see which guys impressed you the most over the prospect showcase this weekend.
Well, they both had their moments. Oliver Moore was fantastic in that first game, the game he played against St. Louis. He was noticeable every time he, stepped over the boards. The Blues had to be aware of where he was. And excuse me, I think he had, him scoring that goal in overtime was huge for his confidence because he's talked a lot during camp and even last year that he needs to be better at finishing his plays. He knows that, you can have all the speed in the world, but if you can't put the puck in the net, you're, slightly less attractive Victor Stahlberg. I mean, it doesn't do
What a pull.
Yeah, there you go. It doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you're really fast and you get to the net and then you Andreas Athanasiou it every time.
I was just going to say, you beat me to it. That's another one. All Swedish, no finish.
Yeah, Victor Stahlberg's for our generation. You guys could have Athanasiou. So him scoring that overtime goal was big for him. I think that gave him a lot of confidence. He definitely does not lack that at all.
Oh, no.
Talking to him during rookie camp, I expect big things from him this year. I think he still needs some time in Rockford to kind of fine-tune his all-around game. Ryan Green probably will be some time in Rockford too, but I think, that first period of that second game, he struggled a little bit. He had some, trouble getting the puck in at the blue line, some rather pedestrian decision-making there. But then that second period, he scores the goal and he looks a lot better. I think it took him a little time to adjust because that roster was different. He didn't have some of those other big name prospects out there. So, but Green is a guy that plays an all-around 200-foot game. Not going to be a guy that's going to score 30 goals in the league, but he's going to be a guy that I think on a good team, which this is hopefully going to be here in a couple of years, plays a very important, bottom six PK defensive shutdown kind of role. You need those guys to win.
No doubt, for sure. There's one player I think we have to take a look at here in terms of what's going on with their contract situation. Wyatt Kaiser, what's the deal with him? He's entering training camp and still hasn't been signed. Do you know what's going on there?
Well, I think it's, he's got zero leverage. That's his problem. He couldn't sign arbitration. He's a restricted free agent. So it sounds like, based on Scott Powers reporting, and there's no reason not to believe him, he's definitely the most in tune on the Blackhawks beat, said that the offer was just under $1 million. Of course, his camp is going to want to get as much as possible. I have a feeling it's got to do with term as well. I don't think the Blackhawks want to go more than 1 or 2 years here, just for the fact that their blue line is so much undecided, undetermined. He's not going to get the long-term deal at this point because they still don't know what he is. They still don't know what so many of these guys are. So he's kind of going to have to just, grin and take whatever they give him at this point because a holdout would be silly. Because every day he's not in camp and every preseason game he doesn't play, somebody's taking his spot. Artem Levshunov cements his spot. Ethan Del Mastro takes his spot, and it's going to be harder for him to get that back. He needs to be there from day one. So I'd still be surprised if he's not there tomorrow, but, you never know how these things work out. I think it's, they're playing chicken, and the Blackhawks, they don't have to blink. Kaiser's the one that, if he wants to play, is going to have to just take that 1-year deal, bet on himself, and see where he's at the end of the year.
Yeah, of course. And kind of going back to that whole roster spot question. We've been talking about Lucas Reichel. We've been talking about Kaiser. We've been talking about all of these current Blackhawks that are fighting for roster spots. So which players need to have a really good preseason in order to secure their spot?
Well, I mean, you mentioned Lucas Reichel. He's definitely going to have to be a difference
Mhm.
maker. Find something that he can do consistently and bring that every night. He's got another fresh set of eyes on him. A new coaching staff. So we'll see how that goes. I still feel that, something could be done here before opening night where he's dealt in one of those change of scenery type deals. There's some other guys having the same situations across the league, so maybe you do a one for one swap there and see what happens. I mentioned Colton Dock. He's got to have like this year is so crucial for him to where the point if he doesn't become that player they envision, he could be on a different team next year. I mean, there are guys coming that provide what he provides and could do it better. You think of next year, next training camp. Uh, Anton Frondel is going to be here.
Yes,
Sasha
Frondell
Bover is
Fridays.
going to be here. Marek Vanacker is going to be here. And whoever they draft top five this year could be here. So those are guys that are already past him on the organizational depth chart. So he needs to have a big training camp. And on the back end, I want to see Kevin Korchinski dominate out
Yes,
Yes.
there.
he
I
needs to have a
think
better year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still only
I
what,
think
20 years old.
Yeah.
a huge an impressive training camp will lead to a breakout season. The ceiling is so high on him too. I'm not panicked about him. He's taking the normal development path for a young defenseman. Um, there was a lot of chatter this offseason about, oh, they should trade him. Trading him just to trade him to me is asinine. It's stupid. There is no reason to give up on Kevin Korchinski just because he hasn't won a Norris Trophy by the time he's 21. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a very dangerous and just silly way of looking at prospects and young players in all sports. We're seeing it with the Bears too. If you don't perform right away, you're considered a bust if you don't have a great game in your first game, and it's hard to take that label away from a young player. So perception is not great, but you got to give these kids time. So I want to see Korchinski just look like the seventh overall draft pick starting from day one. I was impressed with how he played in the playoffs last year for the Icehogs, and I want to see him carry that over into this year.
Do you think Korchinski starts the season with the Blackhawks? Do you think he needs any more time in Rockford?
It's a tough one because
Yeah.
when you look at the defensive, there's a lot of guys that you could argue could play night one, but also could use more NHL time. I mean, like the two only locked in guys to this roster right now are Connor Murphy and Alex Vlasic. I think Sam Rinzel is pretty much made this team. He's shown nothing since becoming a pro. That tells you he's not going to be a top pairing defenseman rather quickly. And then you look at, okay, that's half your defense right there. So now you have Lev Shinov, you have Korchinski, you have Allen, you have Del Mastro, you have Kaiser, if and when he signs a contract. And you brought Grzelcyk in for a PTO. So that's all. And don't forget Louis Crevier, who I think is the ideal seventh defenseman for this team. So I want to see Kevin Korchinski start the season in the NHL, but it's going to be up to him. If he's still not ready, there's nothing wrong with giving him some more time in the AHL.
Yeah, I'm about to make a really bad joke here, but it seems like there are a lot of guys skating on thin ice right here.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
But I do kind of want to ask a follow-up question to you, Greg, kind of piggybacking off of what Justin is saying here. Which players that are currently in training camp do you see being sent back down to Rockford?
Well, at least one of those defensemen are gonna have to go down. Del Mastro, Allen, possibly Korchinski. I mentioned guys like Oliver Moore are still, still needs probably some time down there, unless he just completely, forces you to keep him in the NHL, which I'd have no problem with. There's still plenty of younger guys that were in Rockford last year that are going to need more time. I know Sam Sawaz is a popular player and could have a role with this team. I don't know if that's going to happen right at training camp. Guys like Gavin Hayes and Paul Lewinsky definitely need more time in Rockford. So, Nick Lardis, I know everybody loves him and wants to see him, but he definitely needs some AHL experience. They got to still coach the junior out of him. He's got to get used to the pro game. I think he's going to be an effective player at some point. It's just probably not going to be right out of training camp. So the Icehogs are going to have plenty of good young talent to pay attention to this year and even more next year. I mean, it's an exciting time to be out in Rockford, that's for sure.
They seem to be the Toronto Maple Leafs of the AHL. They always have these really good regular seasons, but then these early playoff exits. So maybe they can work on that this year.
Yeah, hopefully, the more games
I
we
mean,
see out of the guys, the better.
Yeah.
It's the AHL is weird though because it seems that it's never the teams with all the prospects that go far in the playoffs. It's always the Chicago Wolves or the Hershey Bears or the Milwaukee Admirals because they got, a roster full of 29-year-old dudes that, are career AHLers. Yeah, it'd be fun to see a long run down there, but I don't think it's an indictment on the rebuild if they don't win the Calder Cup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, switching gears from AHL up to the big team. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the recent Spencer Knight extension, how you feel about the term and the money, and just comparing it to other deals around the league for top goalies. And I guess, Nazar as well, if you wouldn't mind, sharing how you feel about that deal as well.
Sure. I think they're both good deals for the team, obviously. I mean, I think some people kind of, I don't want to say freaked out, but, reacted to Knight only getting 3 years. Some people might have thought that, he should have got that Dustin Wolf long-term deal. But, to me, I am never a fan of long-term contracts for goaltenders, especially young goaltenders, because you never know. They're more susceptible to injuries. And, like, how many times have we seen a young goalie take the league by storm, and then 3 years later he's picking me up in an Uber? Like it's you never know what's going to happen with these guys. So giving him a 3-year extension gives him 4 years total now with the Hawks, and that gives you plenty of time to figure out if he's your long-term guy, and it gives more time for some of these younger goalies to develop. It gives you more time to figure out exactly what you have in Drew Comezzo. It gives Adam Guyan more time to develop and take his path to being a pro. And Brezhnev is a guy we saw over the weekend. He looks like he might be something. I'm not saying, why do we sign Spencer Knight? We got this Russian kid, but you can never have too much goaltending. And credit to Kyle Davidson, who inherited a team that had no goaltending prospects. I mean, yeah, Drew Comessa was there, but he was still, in college at that point, and he's taken probably their weakest position, and now they've got a lot of depth at that position, and it starts with Knight. So it's good for the team, and it's good for Knight because now that gives him 3 years to then say, okay, I am that guy. Pay me the Sergei Bobrovsky money. I'd rather much do it at that point when you know more certainty about him than doing it now, because that might be a deal you regret down the road if, because goalies are weird and you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there were guys 2 years ago that couldn't wait to buy out Sergei Bobrovsky's contract in Florida. And how's that worked out for them? Pretty good. So a big fan of not giving goaltenders 7 or 8 year contracts. And as far as the Nazar deal, I love that deal. It's going to be an absolute bargain. I think Frank Nazar is going to be a star. The kid just has everything that you want. He's got the swagger, he's got the confidence, but he's also humble, and he puts in the work, and he knows that nothing's given to him. So I think that deal is going to be an absolute bargain as soon as it kicks in. I think the sky's the limits for Frank Nazar. I'm super excited about him, and if there's one thing Kyle Davidson has proven is that he knows how to sign his own talent to team friendly deals.
Yes.
We saw it with Vlasic and Nazar, and you can add Spencer Knight to that deal because if Spencer Knight is, a franchise goalie and you're getting him for under 6 million a year, that's pretty darn good. So he's got to step it up in bringing in players from outside the organization. But he hasn't really had to at this point. He hasn't had to go get that top free agent, but those days are coming soon.
You teed us up really nicely there. What do you make of these Kirill Kaprizov rumors and the McDavid situation at Edmonton? Do you think there's any possibility that somebody pretty nice can be available this time next year that Davidson might be able to take a run at? Yeah.
It's wishful thinking at this point because as we saw last year, these guys just don't hit free agency. The Kaprizov stuff, I think, is just a lot of negotiating in the press. But there's something there. I mean, like, if he turned down that offer, there's a reason. Like, I don't think he wants the 8-year deal. I think he wants a shorter term 4-year deal because then, 4 years from now, when the salary cap is as high as it's ever been, you can hit that free agency market while you're still in the prime of your career and cash in again for even more money. And I don't blame him for that. I am always 100% pro player when it comes to these things. Get paid. You only play for a certain amount of time. Get as much damn money as possible. I never understood fans who get upset about players' salaries. It's not your money. Who cares? Let these guys get as much as they can while they can. Kaprizov, I don't know. The Wild are dumb enough to screw this up. Bill Guerin to me is one of the most overrated general managers in the game. I mean, he was handed. He said he was going to do all these things once he got the Parise and Suter money off the books, and now that's happened, and he can't get Kirill Kaprizov signed. So long way to go. I could see Kaprizov getting traded before. Like, I don't think either of these guys are becoming free agents.
Sure.
So, Kyle Davidson would have to give up a lot to get a Kirill Kaprizov, and I don't know if I love him. He'd be an amazing fit here, but it all depends on the price. And what it would cost. I mean, if it's going to cost you a couple of first-round picks and one of your young defensemen and maybe one of your young forwards, I could see, putting it together. He'd definitely make a call. And as far as McDavid goes, I mean, there's no way he leaves Edmonton, right? I mean, I can't see that. Even Stan Bowman can't screw this up, right? Right?
I don't know.
I think they get a deal done there. I don't think there's any way you're not trading Connor McDavid because I don't think anybody can give you a package that is equal to him. And there's no way you can let him leave for nothing. I don't see that being a possibility. So, I mean, it's not Mitch Marner. It's not, Mikko Rantanen. Those guys are great, but it's Connor effing McDavid. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time. Yes, Wayne Gretzky got traded, but that was, a different time, and a different sport so I don't think McDavid is going anywhere, but then again, it's Stan Bowman and, he's galaxy brain things in the past. So never say never, but I wouldn't bet on it.
If anybody could screw it up, it's him.
Yeah.
Don't disagree with you there, but I mean, I want to see him stay there. I want to see him win that cup there. So
yeah.
Good luck to him and his team signing that.
Yeah, we shall see. You knew this question was going to come up at some point. Speaking of contract extensions, what do you anticipate the Bedsy extension to look like?
That's a good question. I'm terrible at trying to predict these things because I'm always wrong. I think it will be a nice deal on both sides. Connor Bedard is not a guy that cares about the money. That's why he has an agent. His agent cares about the money because the more money Connor makes, the more money he makes. So I don't think it gets done anytime during this season because why would you if you're Connor Bedard? Why would you sign now and then have that breakout season we're all hoping he has and cost yourself money? While money is not the be all end all for him, it's still nice to have as much as you possibly can. So I think he gets probably something close to what, Austin Matthews got as far as like I don't think they're gonna do a long-term contract right off the bat. I think they'll do a 4 or 5 year deal and then, see where it goes from there. But based on what we've seen so far from Kyle Davidson and locking up his own, his young talent, I don't think he's going to do anything that's going to cripple this team going forward financially, even though the cap is going up. But, with the cap going up as dramatically it is, that also means the salaries are going to go up too. So it's not like, oh, we're going to get all this cap space and still pay these guys $7 million a year. No, you're going to get all this extra cap space. And now those $7 million guys are going to be $10 million guys before you know it. So I think it would be fair. I would say maybe a 4 or 5 year deal in the, 9 million, 9.5 million range would probably suffice both
9.8,
sides.
you think? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves to say that. So I'll say, 9.79 just to screw with everybody.
Very nice.
Interesting. Yeah, I believe our producer Nolan has a question for you, Greg.
Yeah, I don't want to put myself on cam here. Still trying to work out the kinks of this, but out of the three contracts that have already been signed so far, the Vlasic, Knight, and Nazar extensions, you could throw Donato in there too if you want to. What do you think is who do you think got the best value for the team, and who do you think got the best value for the player?
I mean, they're all pretty good. I think Donato got the best deal for the player because at his age, you know, I like Ryan Donato a lot. He's a great fit for this team. What he does on the ice, being as versatile as he is, and the what he brings to the room. But I don't see another 30-goal season coming from him. So I think he got the best deal for him. They gave him the extra year. So good for him. He earned that. As far as best deal for the team, to me, I just look at ceiling wise, and it's going to be the Nazar deal. I think, if he is a 25, 30 goal scorer consistently, getting that for his price going forward for the next few years is a bargain.
Yeah, definitely. I also kind of want to ask a question, being the resident Lucas Reichel fan here. We discussed kind of on our show a couple days ago about possible outlooks for him. And we kind of discussed his stats as well. And we noticed that he plays noticeably better on an international stage and an AHL stage compared to the NHL. So what do you think is the best option for Reichel? Do you think he should go back to Europe and play over there? Do you think he would look better on another team? And if so, I know there's been talks about him going to Edmonton, but what team do you think Reichel would be the best fit on? And what do you think needs to happen in order for him to be successful?
Well, I think part of the reason he plays better on those international teams is because he's playing with better players. It's funny how that works. You put talented players with other talented players, and they look good. No matter who he was playing with on Team Germany, it was probably a step up from Pat Maroon and Craig Smith. Just going to go on without looking at the rosters. I'm going to guess he was on with better line mates, so that helps. And the bigger ice obviously helps his game too. I have always been a big fan of Lucas Reichel. First and foremost, Lucas Reichel, the person. The first season he was in Rockford, I got to know him a little bit, covering the team, and just an easy kid to root for. You want to see him have success. And when he had that stretch at the end of the 22-23 season, I was like, okay, this is it. He's hit it. I was ready. I was declaring him, leading scorer, all that stuff, and then he made me look like an idiot again. So, my I don't know if it's ever going to work for him here.
Yeah.
Especially now with all this influx of young talent coming in. I just think the best situation for him, as much as I'm a fan of his, is it's going to have to happen somewhere else. I know people love saying Edmonton because Bowman drafted him, and it's an easy connection there. And he probably, again, better players, he'd have better. But to me, Lucas Reichel just screams Columbus Blue Jacket.
Interesting.
I like that. I never thought of that
They have
before.
a lot of successful Russian players over
Yeah,
there.
that's
You
a
have
good
probably
take,
good
yeah.
chemistry
That's
with. Yeah.
I mean, he just feels that the Columbus Blue Jackets is where these, like, maybe they'll be good someday, maybe not guys always seem to go. And they've got a disgruntled young European forward there too that wants to get out. So maybe you
Chinikov,
make
yeah.
maybe you make the Chinikov for Reichel swap. Everybody's happy and you see what happens. But like, he's got Columbus Blue Jacket DNA in him, I think.
That would be a nice jersey to get.
One of my favorite draft clips on Sportsnet is when the Blue Jackets drafted Chinikov, and they just had absolutely no idea what they did. It was like they really went off the board with this one, but he's turned into a pretty decent player.
Yeah.
I'd be down for a move like that. That'd be interesting. Bit of a different question. What are your thoughts on the Matt Grzelcyk PTO? I mean, because you spoke about never having enough goaltenders. There is a saying you can never have too much defensemen as well. What do you make of this signing? Do you think he actually makes the team and they give him a proper contract, or is this maybe a chess move to get the Wyatt Kaiser situation figured out? What do you make of the Grzelcyk PTO? Yeah.
It's to me it's a smart move. Of course there was instant knee-jerk reaction and overreaction online, and oh my God, he's going to block a young kid. That's not going to happen. There's a lot of factors into why you do something like this, and it's a smart move. First and foremost, outside of Connor Murphy, you don't have a veteran defenseman at all on this team. And do you expect Connor Murphy to play all 82
No.
games this season? I don't. If he plays 60, I'll be thrilled. And he could be a prime candidate for a trade deadline move if he's healthy. That he's the type of a defenseman that teams looking to make deep playoff runs drool over at the trade deadline, especially at his price tag. It's very reasonable. So there's some insurance in case Connor Murphy gets a little ouchy in camp. There's some insurance in case Wyatt Kaiser, that could be hey, we don't need Wyatt Kaiser. We're showing you that we don't care if you don't sign this contract. We brought Matt Grzelcyk in, who is, what you're going to be in 6 years, maybe. And it also, brings in another guy that's been around the league. He's coming off a career season. I mean, he had 39 assists last year.
That's wild.
You tell me you tell me you don't want 39 assists on your blue line?
That'd be the
I'll
most
take
of the
them.
Hawks blue line last year. Yeah.
For sure, not even close. Yeah, which is crazy that he didn't have. He's coming in on a PTO. He played all 82 games last year, put up 40 points. Like I don't. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know his defensive metrics aren't great, and he's not the type of defenseman Kyle Davidson usually goes after, being a little bit smaller. But when you have all these giant defensemen, you can afford to have one guy under 6 foot tall. But I don't think he's going to steal anybody's spot. And another thing to think of is also a favor to the player and his agent, because he's not only just trying out for the Blackhawks, he's trying out for all 32 NHL teams. When you're on a PTO, you can get signed by any other team at any time. He could play one preseason game and get a contract offer from, the Buffalo Sabres and be gone. So, and his agent has some nice clients out there that may or may not, want to be Blackhawks one day. So that's also kind of what GMs have to do. But like, hey, remember when I gave your guy a tryout and he signed that 3-year deal elsewhere because he looked good in my training camp? How about you give me a break
Pay it forward.
on signing this player? Yeah. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but ultimately, I don't think he's on this team come opening night. I just think there's enough good talent here that it's not needed. But, hockey is a physical, violent sport. Maybe you get an injury or two, and a couple of these young guys aren't ready to go for opening night. So now you have him here for a few games. And, he's another guy that could be easily flipped at the trade deadline, get another asset for something you gave nothing to. So it's an no risk, all reward type of move that in the end, by this time next year, we're going to even forget this happened, because I don't think it's going to affect the roster.
Yeah, he's just a fill-in guy.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't think we will remember.
No.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So I was checking Content Day shoots today, and I did see the A on Jason Dickinson's jersey. I'm not sure if that's been announced yet, but the fact that that's there leads me to believe he's going to be the fill-in alternate this year, along with Connor Murphy and Nick Foligno still the captain. What do you make of that move, and what do you think the Hawks' future leadership core could look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right move. Dickinson is definitely one of the the veteran leaders. He's always one of the guys that, is not afraid to speak up in the room and lead by an example guy. He's a guy that I want to see have a big bounce back year. Last year was not great. He dealt with some injuries that obviously affected his play, but he didn't look anything like he did the previous year.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of plays where I was like, hey, buddy, I thought you were our best defensive forward. What are you doing there? All of a sudden, Ilya Mikheyev became the defensive darling of this team. So I want to see him have a bounce back year. Being healthy will help. So yeah, if that's the trio they're going with, it makes all the sense in the world. Going forward, there's no doubt that Alex Vlasic is going to get a letter on his sweater one day. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Connor Bedard is going to be captain of this team one day, maybe as soon as next year. I think Frank Nazar is part of that leadership group going forward. And down the road, maybe a guy like Sam Rinzel is part of that too, because he's a vocal guy too, and a lead by example guy. So they've got a lot of options going forward. I mean, but that's what happens when you constantly draft high character guys that have been captains or assistant captains for their juniors or college teams. You're going to get guys that, are going to be part of that group. But personally for me, I think, letters on sweaters, the fans like it, but I think it's one of the most overrated things in the sport. It
Symbolism.
really doesn't matter. It's like, okay, you get to go talk to the refs. That's what that means, because Jonathan Toews was the captain of the Stanley Cup teams, but everybody that was in that locker room will tell you Brent Seabrook was the leader. So you don't need a letter. You don't need to be captain to be the leader. You could be a leader 100 different ways.
Couldn't agree more. Trent?
Yeah. Just, we were talking about, the future of the Hawks leadership group. I kind of want to bounce it to, when do you think this leadership group could get that team into contention? I guess, when do you think they could be pushing for a playoff spot in this rebuild?
I would love this year to see them be like Utah was last year, where, it's January and, hey, technically we're mathematically alive for a spot. And then, things happen. And then you luck out and you get, you win the lottery too. You miss the playoffs by 5 points and you get, you move up in the lottery. I mean, perfect scenario would be you're this year's Islanders.
Oh, perfect. McKenna, let's go.
Yeah. Almost make the playoffs and get the #1 pick. That would be great. And we, it would also ramp up the league is rigged in the Blackhawks' favor, and I love that chat. That stuff just gets me going in the morning. But this year will be better. I don't foresee them being much more than maybe a 75-point team, which is an improvement.
Be better. Yeah.
But you have to think, having Spencer Knight here all year is going to be worth at least 3 more wins he didn't get last year. Having a real NHL coaching staff should get you 3 or 4 more wins this year. So it should be better. And as these kids improve and take strides and come together, it's going to be, this is going to be a year where I don't think the points and wins and losses really matter, because it's going to be how this team looks. Because if you finish this season with 85 points or 90 points and you almost make the playoffs, and your leading scorers are Teuvo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Nick Foligno, that's not good.
No.
If you finish this season with 72 points, but your leading scorers are Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, and Artem Levshunov and Sam Rinzel look great, that's more important than almost missing the playoffs, but it's your veterans doing all the heavy work. So as far as when they contend, I would think, next season could be that season where like, hey, maybe something's happening here. Maybe you squeeze your way into a wild card spot, depending on how things break down. But realistically, we're looking, probably that 27-28 season is that one where like we could sit here and go, yeah, this is the year. We're going to actually predict the Blackhawks to make the playoffs and not sound like we're on drugs.
Very nice. I think we're all looking forward to that day. Yeah, you got the next one, Natalie?
Nolan has a question, actually.
Yes, I do. We were talking earlier about the prospect showcase, but there was a lot of prospects that weren't in the showcase about guys.
Kaprizov.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to bring up Kaprizov to begin with, but guys like Frundell and Boisvert and Mustard and Kaprizov, out of that group of talent, who are you most excited to, follow and watch this season?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the two guys in Europe and Frundell and Kanserov. Those guys are off to good starts, and they're playing professional hockey. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they could do. Boisvert at BU is definitely intriguing. I want to see, it's not like he's coming from a slouch of a program, but he is stepping up in class a little bit. So I want to see him carry that on to the next year. I want a huge season from him, and hopefully we get him here, end of March, early April for a couple of games. There's, all the first round picks from this year are going to be intriguing to watch. What does Mason West look like when he's done playing football? What's he going to do to the USHL?
Yeah, the Bears might steal him from us.
Yeah, hey, why not? The Blackhawks are going to have a 4,000-yard passer before the Bears. How sad is that? But there are a lot of intriguing prospects out there. Jack Pridham, who's going to be in camp and was at the rookie showcase. I want to see what he does because I'm still kind of scratching my head on why he didn't go to BU and decided to stay in the OHL. I mean, his reasons he gave were good. Closer to family, enjoyed the team. That's fine. But I always kind of wonder about guys who prefer to be big fish in a small pond than go out and prove themselves in a bigger program. So I'll be paying attention on what he comes up with this year.
Yeah, switching gears here. We asked your buddy Jay on Monday on his thoughts on like Jeff Blashill and if he could be the guy for the Blackhawks. I'm pretty sure we already asked you about Blashill when we had you on last year, but I guess just seeing if you have any new thoughts on him and I guess what he can kind of get out of this Blackhawks team that maybe we haven't had in the past coaching years. Good habits he can instill, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. As we talked about before, I don't think there was a ton of excitement when the reports first started coming out that he was the guy. But as I've gotten to talk to him a couple times and hear what he's got to say, I think he's a good fit for this team. He's got a lot of experience working with younger players. As I got into the systems he runs and kind of the entries he likes to run with young mobile defensemen, and he likes a lot of speed up the center of the ice to get out of the defensive zones. He definitely has that option. I think he's got the right team for how he wants to play hockey, which he didn't have a whole lot of in Detroit. I think he's got a good roster for his style of play, and I think he's learned a lot from his time in Detroit and going to spend 3 seasons in Tampa. If they had just hired him directly from Detroit, I'd be like, what are we doing here? But 3 years under John Cooper, I mean, it has to make you a better coach. If it doesn't, I don't know what you're doing there. And his coaching staff is really good. The head coach only does so much, but bringing in, Mike Vellucci, who has won a Calder Cup in the AHL and has done a lot of work with young players is good. Michael Pekka is a 2-time Selke Trophy winner as a player. He's going to get these guys like Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar to round out their games and learn that good defensive habits will lead to a lot more time with the puck and scoring goals. The better you play defense, the more you get to play offense and have all the fun. And even keeping Anders Sorensen, I like that move too. He's a good like one-on-one skills guy. he's not an NHL head coach to any degree, at least not yet. But he's really good at getting messages across to young players and working with them, on a personal level, and that's going to be good for this team. So I think overall as a staff, it's a good move, and it's an upgrade for sure. It's probably the best coaching staff they've had here since they let go of Quinville and that gang. I just think you have a staff that's more in tune of exactly what's needed to get this team to the next step. And I know the comments from Mikhail Sergachev
Oh, he beat me to it.
went viral. I just shook my head like, okay, here's a guy that got traded by Tampa to Utah. So of course he's got sour grapes. He's bad mouth like, and I read that and I go, there's no way this is true. I mean, maybe he said it, sure. But like, then what's John Cooper doing? Like if John Cooper comes in and lets Jeff Blashill change the way his whole team's playing, that's more on Cooper, not Blashill.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, of course. And now I really want to talk about kind of going back to the Quinville era and the dynasty years. We have two big Blackhawks that are doing very big things. And of course, I'm talking about Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Toews just signed to Winnipeg, and Kane is trying to make an Olympic roster again. So I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts on the Toews debacle with Winnipeg and him coming back. And I also want to know your thoughts. We asked Jay this on Monday as well, but I want to hear what you have to say about the expectations of Kane and if he's going to make an Olympic roster or not.
I'll start with Toews. I'm very intrigued to see what he has to offer. 2 years away from the game, going to India to, do whatever the hell he was doing over there, drink whatever weird liquids he was drinking to get I'm always going to cheer for Jonathan Toews, regardless of where he's playing. I hope it works out for him. He's just so competitive. But I just worry that he's a guy that refuses to listen to his body tell him, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'll be pulling for him. I hope it works out well. I just wouldn't bet on it, but I don't want to bet against Jonathan Toews because he is, he's one of the most competitive players ever. I just don't know if his body and his brain are on the same page. I hope so. I'll definitely be watching that. I know his return to Chicago will be an emotional night for sure. I'm looking forward to that. So I hope he does well, except for the 4 times he plays the Blackhawks this year. And as far as Kane on the Olympic team, if he's on that Olympic roster, I want it to be because he deserves to be there and not for some nostalgia record stuff.
Of course.
He didn't make 4 Nations last year. I think it's honestly, I think it's going to be tough for him because you got to remember the Olympic game is on a bigger ice surface. You probably want younger, faster guys that play with a little more edge.
Nazar?
Yeah. Not this time around, but stranger things have happened. I just, if they are going to use a roster spot for Kane, I just hope it's because he is one of the best American players out there, not because they just, they want TV ratings or they want him to finally, get that gold medal to complete his trophy case. I don't want it to be a feel-good story. I want it because he's going to be one of the best players to help them win.
Yeah, and I even think he was quoted saying that too. Like, he wants to make the team solely because of the player that he is now, not the player that he was back then, and for the nostalgia and for all the compliments. So I definitely agree with you there on that one as well.
No, for sure. I mean,
if I'm a Red Wings fan and I'm reading those quotes about him wanting to make the Olympic teams, I'm just like, hey, why don't you focus on getting this bum ass team to the playoffs?
It's a fair point. They've been there in over a decade, since 2016. They're still waiting in the Weiser plan there. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
just don't think he's going to win a cup with them ever. Like, if he wanted to win a cup, I don't think the Red Wings was the team to go for that.
Yeah, I think he appreciates his connection with DeBrincat. I know like, he has got connections there. And his son loves it there. So he has his reasons for playing in Detroit. But yeah, if he still wants to win, he'll go out, swinging for 4th cup. Probably not going to happen in Detroit.
Yeah, he's definitely walking around collecting original 6 teams like they're the Infinity Stones.
He's already
But
halfway there.
He's
yeah.
already halfway there. Only 3 more to go. Let's see if he could pull that off. But he had that really good connection with Panarin as well.
Yeah.
So who knows? I wish him the best. I feel like everyone in Chicago wishes him the best, but
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi might beat King to the original 6 gauntlet there.
Yeah.
He might get him. He's got what, 4 of the 6 already?
He's got the Wings, he's got the Hawks, Bruins, Leafs. Yeah, you're right. 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just needs the Canadians and Rangers, so he might beat them.
Yeah,
There
we
we
were
go.
talking about this on last show, actually. Eric Gustafson's another guy who Habs, Rangers, Hawks. Was there another one? I don't know if there's
He's
another
got 3
one.
or 4. He's got 3 or 4 as well. Yeah. Greg, you've been super gracious with your time. One more question, more of an NHL question. Who's your way too early cup winner this year?
I hate to be that guy, but until someone beats the Florida Panthers, it's the
Oh,
Florida
boy.
Panthers. I mean,
I can't disagree there.
listen, everybody last year wanted to give a million reasons why the Panthers wouldn't win it, and they just went out and kicked the shit out of everybody.
yeah.
And did it with a smile on their face, and then told you sucked after they did it. I love that. The league needs more villains, and if the Florida Panthers are now the villain that people just can't wait to see lose, bring it on. That's good for the sport.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kachuk is going to be out till December or later, that just makes him even more effective come playoff time. So
Just be better rested. Yeah.
I think they're a team that's learned that, you don't have to go full throttle through 82 games. Just get to the playoffs and let's do our thing. Right now, if that team is healthy, come playoff time, and they're going to go out and make a deal at the trade deadline that's going to make them even better. They kept everybody. I just don't think there's a team that can beat them in a 7-game series right now. They are a perfect playoff roster. So something would have to go terribly wrong health-wise for them not to win. Because I look at these other teams that people pick every year, and I just don't see them having it. Edmonton still doesn't have the goaltending. Dallas, Dallas maybe without Pete DeBoer to screw it up and light the team on fire and pour gasoline on his way out. Maybe that makes a difference. I'm not sold on Colorado at all. I think they're going to be a good team, but they're not built for playoff hockey. Even in the East, who's going to beat the Panthers in 7 games in the East? It's not going to be the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes every year. Oh, this is your year, and they lose in the second round like they do every
They're
year.
the stars of the East. Yeah.
Well, because they're another team that just refuses to go get a stud goalie. They every year they're like, this is the year Freddie Anderson doesn't fall apart. Nope.
Yeah. I don't think the Marner-less Leafs are going to get it done either.
No.
Yeah.
No. Even with Marner, they couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So, maybe the Devils, if they stay healthy, can have a fun team this year. But right now, I don't think anybody's beating the Panthers in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's unfortunately hard to disagree. I mean, maybe the Oilers in McDavid's last season. I'm just kidding.
No.
We shall see.
No, but I really agree with you when you say that they're the villains of the NHL now. And personally, I feel like they really solidified their villain status. Don't say his name. But yes, with a certain signing. But hey, nobody can be too mad. We could just be salty, but nobody can be too mad because we got Spencer Knight out of it. So
It'll work out.
It'll work out. It'll work itself out eventually. At least he's not in our possession anymore. But I don't know if I'll be able to watch him win another Stanley Cup. So, yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nobody who can beat them currently. I mean, unless Edmonton gets their stuff together and, the Stars too. But unfortunately, Yeah,
Unless,
it's just
Kaprizov gets traded to a contender. That's the only thing I can see.
that would be interesting. That would
Another
be interesting.
super team somewhere out there. But
Yeah.
I mean, the Panthers are.
They're them.
I have them locked into the final right now. They're making it there.
We
We'll
shall
see if
see.
they win.
We
it.
shall
We shall see for sure. Greg, thank you so much for joining us once again. Everybody on CHR, check out his new Second Balcony podcast on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And also check out his writing on Blackhawk Up. Really appreciate you for joining us, and you're always welcome here on CHR as a guest. Yeah.
Absolutely. Always have a blast talking to you guys. So whenever you want, just send me a link and I'll waste more of your time.
For sure. No,
No,
absolutely not. Are you
no.
kidding me?
You're
No,
always welcome here.
absolutely not. No, appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you,
Of course.
Greg.
Have a
See
good
ya.
one.
Yeah, and I mean, when we're talking about the Kane Infinity Stone trial or whatever, I feel like a certain someone on CHR would be very happy if Kane went to the Leafs.
Oh, yeah. I think I know who you're
I
referring
think
to.
I think I know who we're
Yeah.
referring to. But who knows? Who knows what he's gonna do?
Yeah, we shall see. I think we got to get into some CHR lore here.
That's right.
I think we should let our chat know. I think our chat probably
Does
are.
this mean I get the prod cam in?
Sure, yeah. Feel free to join us
right.
there, Nolan.
Come
Absolutely.
on, Nolan, join us.
Hey guys.
Hi, Nolan. Hi, Nolan.
So, unless you've been living under a CHR rock, I would say this week, you're probably familiar with what we did yesterday at Union Station. Yes, between 6-7 o'clock.
No.
morning commute.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Enough.
no, that's actually valid. That's when we showed up there. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay, I
Betsy
take back
Nazar
what I
said it,
said.
not me. Not me.
I take back what I said.
Yeah. Blackhawks held a Centennial season ticket giveaway event there. Players like Bedard, Nazar, Knight, and Vlasic were all in attendance. It was very nice. We went there to preach the good word, the gospel of CHR.
CHR.
Did some networking. Recognized a few times. All of us, not just me, we were all recognized, which
I was
was
shocked.
pretty cool. Until the Blackhawks arrived, and then we were kind of forgotten
We were
pretty
chopped
quick.
liver.
Betsy showed up, and he was he was mobbed like a zoo animal. I gotta say, I felt kind of bad for him. I was hoping to meet him, get a picture, but I also didn't really want to contribute to what he was dealing with because I felt for him as an introvert. I know how that feels. Being in a big room with a bunch of people around you, it's never fun.
The analogy that I was making, it was like, it was a Black Friday sale with 75% off, and Bedsy was the product on sale. It was insane.
Yeah, it really was wild. Like I probably should have expected it, but it was even crazier than I expected. But we did get to meet Frank Nazar. That was
We
awesome.
did meet
what
Frank
a
Nazar.
guy Frank
What a
Nazar is.
chill
So
guy.
nice.
Awesome. Absolute legend. We all got to meet him. And no, his aura is just as noticeable in person, I must say. I could just feel his aura transmitting off of me. So
Good guy, Frank.
I
He
don't think
really
Frank has ever
yeah.
taken a bad photo.
No, absolutely
Neither is
not.
Justin.
Yeah, neither is Justin.
Yeah, we were talking about this
good call.
yesterday. I don't think we have a single bad photo of you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I a
Good job,
picture taker?
Justin.
Yeah, you are a good picture taker.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
you're
My
very
mom was always
photogenic.
good at taking
I'll give
pictures.
stick
so
taps for that.
I'll
Stick
give
taps.
her the credit for that one.
Yeah, but no, good guy Frank over here. Out of all of them, I really want to say that he was the one who spent the most time
Yes.
and engaged with fans the most. Like, regardless of how long it took people to talk to him, he was always like very, very, very respectful and very nice, and people were the same back to him. Like, I remember when I walked up to him for my picture, he asked me for my name, I introduced myself, he introduced himself. It was very nice. He's a very, very good human being, and I'm so excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, he's just a guy you want to root for.
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
I was talking to him because 4 years ago during the rookie dev camp that he was in, I had mentioned that I met him and he was trying to think back. Obviously, he probably didn't remember, but he's like,
He
oh.
acted like he remembered.
Yeah, no, he did a very good job of acting like it, and he was like, "Oh, dude, no way, that's sick." And I was just so excited to see Frank. Frank is the kind of guy you want to root for, and I'm so glad that he's locked up for the next 8 years.
For sure. Like I would say of the four players, like he definitely seemed the one that was happiest to be there. Like he was going out of his way to offer pictures and autographs, things like that. Betsy, you could just see he was a little bit overwhelmed. Not
Betsy
blame
was
him.
just like,
yeah, and the Vlasic is he is so massive in person, man.
Yeah,
I think
he's
the Blackhawks have so
gigantic.
many like big defensemen. You don't really notice it like when you're watching the game, but in person, like he made Betsy look like a dwarf who was standing next to
He
him.
might
during
be,
the game.
might be 6'7".
No, I'm not taking the
No,
bait.
he's like,
I think he's 6'6".
I think he's listed at
5'5".
6'5", 6'6".
6'5", 6'6". Yeah.
Six, nah.
No,
no,
no.
not enough. But
Tomfoolery.
yes, what is this nonsense? Utter woke nonsense.
I do want to say about the meet and greet. If you happen to run into the CHR and you took photos with us, please tag us on your Instagram
Yes,
stories.
please.
Shoot us into the DMs. We'll repost it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely. We'd love to.
we were very ecstatic whenever someone came up and noticed the hat. You know, we were giving out business cards. We were very happy about all of that. So I really appreciate it. You know, if we got the photos that were taken with Justin, Natalie, and myself.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Definitely growing the word of CHR, preaching the gospel, oral tradition. It was a very nice experience for sure.
And I mean, too, another thing that I want to talk about with my interactions with Frank Nazar. He was going towards one of the cameras because he was doing an interview. And when we were like kind of clearing the way for him, he asked me if I got like one of the autograph cards, and I told him no. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go." And I'm like, why are you apologizing to me? You're Frank Nazar. Like, you don't need to apologize. Like, he wanted to make sure that everybody was able to get something.
Yeah.
And I got 3 cards, Knight, Vlasic, and Nazar. So
As did I,
shout out my little brother. I gave him my Spencer Knight one. So Eddie, if you're watching this, you owe me Chipotle still.
And another cool thing that they
Not
were doing,
sponsored.
they were giving out the QR codes. And
Yes.
I actually ended up winning a pair of tickets.
No
So,
way!
to one of the
Good for you.
Centennial
Yeah.
games.
It
Yeah.
should have been me, not him. it's not fair.
It should have been May.
Hey, I think that's like one of the big, first raffles I've ever won.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be super
Stick
cool.
taps.
I've had like 50
W. Nolan's
I've
in the
had-
chat,
I've had
unfortunately.
like 50 people ask me, "Oh, so you're gonna bring me, right?"
Yeah.
I was just gonna say. So who's your plus one? for
I
this
have no
mystery
idea. I
tickets?
don't know which game it is. I find out in the next
We're
48
the,
hours.
we're the
It's
best of
gonna
buddies,
be
right? Nolan?
me.
Hey,
Right?
Justin,
Yeah.
we had a great time yesterday. That doesn't
Yes.
mean you're getting a ticket.
I got to put my
You
word
had
in
me there
early.
for a
Hey,
second.
Nolan, you know I've never doubted you or your abilities for a second, right?
Yeah, no, neither of like any of the three
Did
of
I,
you.
did I
so.
mention just how good you look today? Like
Oh,
you just
thank
you
you.
really
I
look
appreciate
nice.
it.
I could tell you trimmed up there. Like you
Thank
look
you.
really nice.
Thank you.
You know?
Charlie got anything?
Really cleaned
or-
up.
You
Yeah.
know-
You're just, you're being the best producer possible right now.
Oh,
I don't think
stop
I've seen
it.
a better
You
one
know,
ever.
stop
So
it.
You know, Justin is
it's just food for
spreading
thought.
misinformation right now. I personally think that he's lying to you about everything that he's been saying. If you vote for me, I
if it was
personally
if it was a 4-pack that I got, then it'd be the 4 of us, and that'd be super cool. But it's only I only have one
okay,
ticket.
but it's not. And you should vote for me, CHR viewers. You should vote for me to be Nolan's +1 to the Centennial game that he won tickets for. I'm a very nice person, and I know you guys know that. So please consider me to be Nolan's +1.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we
That's
go.
it.
Well, we could keep this debate going all day, but yes.
We got some other stuff to get into.
For sure.
That's right,
Blackhawks
that's right.
content day today. Training camp starts tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have more to say about that Thursday. One more Hawks-related item to get to before we get to the NHL hour on the other side of the break. I was talking about that Bedsy Vlasic interview with at the season ticket giveaway event yesterday, and in that interview, some really good words here. That this is exactly what you want to hear regarding his impending extension. We're going to get it done when it gets done. I'm excited to be here for a long time. That is exactly what you want to hear. So, yeah, they're in no rush to get a deal done. It'll probably get done next summer, I'd imagine, when the season has concluded. But everything Betsy's ever said has mentioned how much he loves Chicago and loves being here and is going to play here for a long time. So, it's definitely good to hear that, exactly what you want to hear. We've heard it before, but just the more you hear it, the more it fires you up. So, and hopefully he'll be fired up to have a big season ahead.
Canucks fans co-parter.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, that'll do it for the Blackhawks Hour. We will be back. Plenty to say on the NHL side of the break. And just a friendly reminder, if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, be sure to leave how many stars? A 5-star rating and review. If you're watching this video on YouTube, like it up, share it around. After the video's gone live, you can hype up your favorite creators 3 times a week.
And you know what, guys?
CHR merch drop.
Nothing beats a CHR merch
That's
drop.
right.
I knew that was coming.
The
It's a
Alithio
standard.
website.
It is the standard. The standard is the standard. Shout
And
out
I
Mike Tomlin.
beat you to it this time.
Yes, you did. I allowed you to.
I didn't need a cue. But yes, guys, please shop our merch. It's very pretty, very nice, very demure.
that's right.
Buy it.
Yes, sir. Link in bio. We will be right back on the other side for the NHL.
Woo!
All right. Welcome back, CHR fans, for the NHL Hour of our Wednesday CHR episode. Before we get into our NHL topics, first of all, we just want to thank Greg Boysen again for coming on the show. Outstanding
Great guy.
guest. He always is.
thank you
Every
very
single
much, Greg.
time he raises the bar. So I definitely think, not to be biased here, but I have to say, one of the favorite guests that we've had on the show last year, too, and good to have him back this season, and wish him the best of luck in his endeavors this year, for sure. Good to have him on, and it was a really good portion of the show. And just a friendly reminder, if you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate it. Like this video on YouTube. Share it around to your friends, right? Don't be afraid to hype up our videos after they're live, like hype up our favorite creators 3 times a week. So we really appreciate that. CHR merch drop. We'll keep mentioning it. Y'all have been asking for it for a while.
Nothing
and
beats
we're
it.
happy to provide that. So for sure, we really appreciate that. All right. So much storylines to get into here as training camp has begun this week in the NHL landscape. Blackhawks training camp starts tomorrow, but many other teams have started today. And there's plenty of storylines to get into here. I think we should start off, though. I mean, we've already spoken about this player plenty. Sidney Crosby, though, I think it's worth having a bit of a discussion about him. There's been a lot of speculation, I'd say, last week about his future in Pittsburgh, but he has denied reports that he is seeking that he was please thinking of leaving Pittsburgh. No, he wants to stay loyal to them. He was doing a season ticket giveaway with the Penguins and said that all his intentions are in Pittsburgh and remaining with the Penguins. So kind of shot down those talks there, and looks like he's going to be remaining loyal to Pittsburgh, just like his predecessor, Mario Lemieux. What do we think about that?
I mean, are we really surprised?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'm not surprised about that. This dude's built his entire career in Pittsburgh. I feel like it would take a lot, an absolute lot, for him to leave, and that just goes without saying. I mean, he's their franchise player. He's been there for so many years, and I don't see it happening unless there's a really, really, really big, massive deal from him, like from another team for him. So yeah, I saw that coming. I didn't think anything crazy was gonna come out of that. So yeah.
Yeah,
No,
for sure.
It's definitely just one of those things that gets talked about in the offseason just so there's talks. I mean, obviously it's a big news. Crosby's last year, Pittsburgh's not really the team that they were in his prime, but, he's clearly a very elite player in the NHL still, despite the Penguins being in the basement. And I just don't think he's the guy that's going to walk out on that to win a cup somewhere else. He's Pittsburgh, born and raised, not born and raised, but for the league.
He effectively is.
He feels like,
Yeah.
a Pittsburgh native at this point.
Honestly,
like truly
yeah.
coming in there at 18 years old and, growing up as, a Pittsburgh resident. So
I also like the little line he had. He was asked about allegations of the Penguins getting worse this season and trying to lose, and he shot that down pretty bluntly. He was like, that's not the game I know. So Pittsburgh, Crosby not a fan of the
love that
Pittsburgh
line.
tanking allegations. So, I think on the ice, we'll see about that one, Sid, but he definitely seems intent on, the competitive Crosby still seems intent on, having the most successful season he can in Pittsburgh and beyond, for sure. And this is another storyline. I don't know if you all saw this. If we recall, a couple weeks ago with Lane Hudson and the drama around a potential
Yes.
Canada representation in the future after his dad clearly was not happy about his perceived snub from the USA Olympic orientation camp. And Lane Hudson recently had a response to those comments. And I'll read his quote. I am a USA hockey player.
Couldn't have said
End
it better
quote.
myself.
That's all that needed to be said. That is the correct response. Lane Hudson's a young defenseman. He's 21 years old. He's going to have his whole career and future ahead of him to make future, USA Olympic rosters and teams. So he's already represented U.S. on the international stage in the World Juniors and won gold at that level. So that's what you want to see. You like to see that loyalty, and I'm sure he'll be hoping that the U.S. extends that same level of loyalty to him in the future, beyond 2026 when the time comes. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really, really rough. Not even, I don't want to say rough, but it's competitive this year. It is very competitive. All of these tryouts, all of these people invited to come attempt to represent Team USA. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I feel like it especially goes for Team Canada as well. Like, these young players, obviously you need them on the ice for your country. They are good, they are skilled, they have a lot of speed, they have everything that some of the older players lack And these older veterans, obviously they have veteran presence and they've made names for themselves, but that kind of like how we were talking about with Greg, like it can only be so much. And I think Hudson has a bright future ahead of him, and I don't think he should be taking it personally, and I feel like he's not. He's staying, loyal to Team USA, and I could definitely see him going to the Olympics in the future, like we were saying.
He's going to get his chance.
He's going to get his chance. It's not everybody can get their chance this year, and in the future, he definitely will.
No doubt.
I think he's definitely a top 6 U.S. defenseman.
Of course.
If not now, then, looking 4 years down the road, he is probably I would say top 3 defenseman if he keeps going at the growth that he is. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I mean, if you look at it from Lane's perspective, obviously it sucks. But again, he's 22 years old. Right. There's a lot more hockey to be played from then. You look at Frank Nazar. I don't think it's the end of the world if Frank Nazar doesn't make it.
Yeah.
I don't really expect him to. Like, that would be a bonus if he made it this year. Just the fact that he was invited to camp as a win, though.
And another thing, too, I mean, we were talking about the Patrick Kane discussion with him making the team or not making the team. Like, I don't really see a lot of change between the Four Nations team and the Olympic team this season.
No,
maybe a couple adjustments to the roster, but I would say 85-90% probably the similar team.
Yeah,
probably for Canada as well.
And it's weird, too, because there's so many... There were so many snubs from the Four Nations team that I think could be adjusted to. Like, I'd rather see Jason Robertson in there. Like, no, Jason Robertson, dude. He plays at all 3 facets of the game. He's put up 100 points before. Like, he is a very good hockey player, and the fact that he didn't make the Four Nations team was kind of mind-boggling to me. I mean, there's
a lot of good players, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of good players. I mean, you look at other names like Cole Caulfield, you look at Alex DeBrincat, you look at Brock Besser, you look at Nick Schmaltz.
He probably could have been there over guys like Chris Kreider, Brock Nelson, players of that like.
Yes, I would agree.
Speaking of USA hockey players, how about JT Miller? Recently named captain of the New York Rangers heading into this season. Has only been back there for a few months, dating back to last season, obviously, trade from Vancouver. Played many years in New York before he was traded to the Lightning and then Vancouver. What do we think about this move? JT Miller, Rangers captain.
I think that makes sense. I mean, he's a guy who's familiar with the team. He's been there before. And right now, I don't see who else would have been, appointed at the guy you trust to, lead.
You think he was the best option there? You don't think there's anyone else that could have?
Adam Fox.
Yeah, Adam Fox. Obviously, that is the other guy you could look at there. But I think
Mika Zibanejad.
I think having a guy who's been around is better for a captaincy position. And you kind of want Adam Fox to be focused more on the playing side and fully, growing into the player that he's supposed to be. Well, kind of JT can step back and be more of that veteran leader. I think it kind of works.
Yeah, Fox is kind of a guy I want to see more from, not necessarily from the Rangers standpoint, but as an American fan, I want to see more from him in this Olympic run, I would say. His Four Nations performance could have been better, so I'd like to see more from there. But I still would have given him, I would say, he probably would have been my top choice for captain there. He's been there his whole career and has been a staple in the blue line as one of the top defensemen in the game. JT Miller, I'm not saying he's not deserving, but he just got back there. I mean, it's interesting, but he's got a good relationship with Vinny Trocheck. Trocheck's another guy probably could have been good. Yeah. Panarin, his contract's up, so who knows if his future is going to be in New York. There's some question marks there. Definitely would not have given the Zetas advantage at this rate. Definitely not. So yeah, I'd say he's probably a top 5 option. Was he the top option? Question marks. But I will say, supposed locker room cancer captain. So I wonder what Elias Pettersson has to say about that.
I think it's super interesting too that they do it before training camp just to set the tone.
Set the tone.
I know,
Shoresy reference.
Set the tone. Shoresy reference. I know they were back, I believe, 2 years ago when Clint Hughes was named captain. He was named captain before the first game, and I just think having that extra 3 weeks to have the expectations on the team and actually having him lead, I just think it would have been better overall for the team. And I think the Rangers did the right move in there. But still, they did not make the right move at captain. It should have been Adam Fox.
I mean, but you also have to take a look at Miller's stats as well. I know stats don't necessarily have a lot to do with that, but last season he almost put up a point per game. He had 22 goals and 48 assists in 72 games, and 35 of those points came after he came to the Rangers.
He was
from
much better at the Rangers than Vancouver.
He definitely was, and locker room cancer this, locker room cancer that. I mean, it's proven that he's good. He has the qualifications. He's a leader, and I feel like this was definitely a good choice. Could there have been better choices? Of course. But, I mean, you kind of got to take what you can get at this point.
Exactly. And, I mean, as we've seen, you can be, deemed locker room cancer, get traded, and then win a Stanley Cup.
I wonder who you could possibly be alluding to there.
Nobody.
Say his name.
Nope, absolutely not.
Not allowed.
No. But, yeah, I mean, even looking at other captaincies, like with Nick Foligno, veteran presence, all that stuff. But, like, is he the top goal scorer on the team?
No, the captain doesn't have to be the best
If
player.
he ever is,
Best
you got
leader.
some problems.
Right. But I mean, that veteran presence is enough for him, and I'm interested to see where that leads with the Blackhawks next year. But yeah, it's new. I mean, I think on Monday we were just talking about how Rangers are captainless, and now all of a sudden we have a captain. We spoke it into existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And CHR is responsible for this. Not really.
Delusion.
Delusion.
I will say the Rangers, it was a rough year for them last year, but they did look considerably better with JT Miller on the team versus when he wasn't. So you can definitely see the impact he has in the room. I'm sure looking forward to a full season of him as Rangers captain this upcoming season. And hopefully that'll do better than the last captain, Jacob Trouba there. Hopefully that'll go better. So best of luck for them there in New York. And I believe segment time is upon us. We got Bad Take Wednesday. I mean, the name sort of explains it. We reveal our worst takes of the week to everyone listening. So who would like to go first?
Not me.
Not you. Charlie, are you going first? You look like you want to go first.
I could.
All right.
Unless you've got a hankering.
There you go.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think my worst take that I saw this week on Twitter has to be people comparing Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler, the quarterback of New Orleans Saints. And, it's through 2 games. They're looking at touchdown passes, total yards, and QBR. And people are trying to paint the picture that somehow if having Spencer Rattler on your team would bring you to a brighter future than having Caleb Williams.
Those
on
sound
your
like the
team.
same people
Well,
that
you
think
know what
Tyson
the most
Bagent
ironic
should be
thing
starting.
about you know what the most
hilarious.
ironic thing is, right?
Yeah.
Is that those two fought it out at Oklahoma for the job.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's super interesting that they're still getting compared. What is that? 3-4 years later?
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly never separate the two. It's been years of that, but
Yeah.
I just think people really overreacting to, Spencer Rattler for the Saints. He's been in a comeback situation in all his games. He's having to throw for these passing yards, and he's just not highly regarded as Caleb is around the league. So
Yeah.
I just such reactionary takes after 2 games that we see every week on Twitter.
Yeah.
And Spencer Rattler being mentioned in the same elite category as Caleb Williams is just beyond me. So-
Also, certified not a Spencer Rattler guy. I'm not a Spencer Rattler guy whatsoever.
right?
Really?
No, I think not only is the talent not there, but just the things that he. Did you guys ever watch that QB1 on Netflix?
Yeah.
I saw a little bit.
Yeah.
So QB1, he was on that, and it just seemed like he was a complete he didn't take responsibility for his own actions. He was blaming his wide receivers for everything. Yeah, and it's just like he's not a team first guy, and that's not what you want out of a quarterback.
Yeah.
No,
I have
quarterback's
seen
got to be one of the top leaders in the team.
some discussions about that, his attitude and everything like that. And, people have been critiquing Caleb, his attitude, how he looks like on the sideline and stuff. But I just think, Spencer is definitely, more of an issue in that regard than Caleb is at all.
And I feel like a lot of that's just like appearances and speculation, right? It's like a lot of the same talk we've seen with Betsy, like, oh, he's always like so upset on the benches and showing emotion, like he has a bad attitude. Like maybe he just wants to win. Like maybe Caleb Williams isn't happy with the team situation, so clearly he's showing his body language. Like, I wouldn't want him to look all, sunshines and rainbows right now when the team's clearly not in the spot it needs to be right now. So you need to raise the standards. So
That's right.
I think a lot of that's just looks.
Yeah. Looks. Early reactions.
Yeah, overreactions.
Gut reactions,
Yeah, for sure. All right. I guess I will go second, and I guess I also got a Bears one, and I think I'm just going to copy pasta my one from last week. It's just the overall sentiment of Bears optimism heading into week 2 against the Detroit Lions. I remember seeing the prevailing narrative across the sphere that the Bears were due for a must-win game in week 2. Ben Johnson's return to Detroit, playing his former team when he was offensive coordinator in Detroit. That'll be the game that the Bears figure it out and kind of get their season on track after a week 1 game against the Vikings Vikings that kind of got away from them, right? They could have easily won that game and just found a way to blow it in typical Bears fashion. And this one was the complete opposite. It was not a narrow edge. It just got completely blown out of the water. One of the worst games I've seen in my life. I already talked about it on Monday, but I think for me, it's just, the overall sentiment among Bears fans of being delusional. Like, why are we always doing this? It's the same thing every year. They always over-delude ourselves and thinking this will be the year we figure it out. And as usual, so far, not the case. But again, we're only 2 games in, so long way to go. Long way to go.
I kind of feel bad for that one guy on TikTok who's like, if the Bears lose, I'll run a mile for every single point the Bears
terrible.
lose by.
31 miles.
31 miles. Yeah. Oof, that's
a lot of running.
Rough. But hey, he'll
have
be
to spread that out, probably, right?
Very fit though. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Very
Great
nice.
Success. Yeah.
Great success.
All right.
All right, I'll go next. This is, it's a hockey take. It's a hockey take, specifically a take about the experience yesterday at Union Station. I have specifically here that the Blackhawks Union Station experience was a bust. And there was one Twitter user who claimed that they took off work and kind of camped out at Union Station and got there around 4 a.m, just kind of waiting for things to start. And they were not very happy with the fact that the only thing they won off of that QR code thing was 10% off your next purchase.
Yeah,
I
skill
mean,
issue.
I'll take what I can get. But they said the advertising was different and they advertised it incorrectly. And they said that it was not worth it at all. And they got nothing, no pictures, no autographs. I mean, you kind of have to make yourself known in order to do that. But this user claims that they didn't want to add to the chaos and the swarm surrounding the players.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, right? But, I mean, if you're going there just to get a quick picture and an autographed card, go to a signing event.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way the event was described, I knew that wouldn't be a guarantee, right? That wasn't really why they were there. So I don't think you could really complain about something when it's like that. It wasn't a pitcher signing. It's like they would give it to you, they'd do it if asked, but that wasn't why they were there.
No, of course not. Just go to a signing for that. I mean,
there's always chances.
It was such a fun experience.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was a very nice experience. And, even if we didn't get to meet any of the players or see any of the players, just walking the station, I've never been there before, and talking to our fellow Blackhawks fans.
CHR enjoyers. That was the highlight. That was the highlight.
Promoting
really
the
why
CHR
we were
gospel.
there, right? Yeah, of course it's nice to, meet your heroes and stuff, but really to communicate with fans and just preach the good word. Yeah.
Just networking. Just networking. It was a great event. We met so many awesome people there. And I mean, it was a great event. I don't know why people are complaining, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think, overreactions for sure, right? It's not that deep. I think they're going to do more events like that in the future. I hope they do at least. It felt very like Kane Tays era-esque. The Hawks haven't really done as much things like that. I'd say in recent years, they haven't really done a convention in a while.
Bring it back.
I hope they do more events like that. I think they will. I think they will. And they picked the right players, right? I mean, Nazar, Knight, Vlasic, all recently extended for long-term deals. Bedsy will follow. They picked the Blackhawks core 4.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nolan, you up next?
Oh, all right. I am the last to go here. So there was a specific tweet on August 2nd, 2025, talking, and it said the Cubs will not make the playoffs. Now, fast forward to today.
Magic number 1.
Giants
Magic number
lost.
is 1. The Giants have lost. The Cubs are currently up 4-0 right now over Pittsburgh, and if they win 1 out of their next 12 games, they're in the playoffs. Now, let me give some context to that. That August 2nd game, that was the Ryan Sandberg game. I was at that game. Obviously, knee-jerk reaction was, how do we blow this again? But at the same time, you got to realize that, hindsight's 2020, right? And the big thing now is that the Cubs are 1 win away from the playoffs. That was the big thing going into this season.
They're bound to win one of those games.
Yeah.
First since 2018.
2020.
2020. First full season.
First full season since 2018. And I mean,
2018.
that's a
There we
big
go.
expectation for this team, right? Is to make the playoffs this year. And they've done it. Now, how far do they go? I have no idea because we don't know, the health status.
They
of
won't
Kyle
win
Tucker
around.
and stuff
You
like
know
that.
what?
They won't win a game.
I was literally just about to say that. Do not say anything No, we
No.
get it. You're a Sox fan. Cope. Love you, Justin.
I gotta hate watch somebody.
Yeah, but I mean that was my big takeaway is that like you had to look at the schedule. There was a stretch in time where between August 18th and like tomorrow, they didn't play a single playoff team, and they've looked good. They've been on a 102 game win pace over the last 23 games. Like that is super extraordinary. Yeah, exactly. And you should be happy for it, Justin, because you're supporting the city.
Like I said, if you're a Chicago baseball fan, you support one team and one team only. Even when the Cubs were in the World Series in 2016, I was not cheering for them. I think I was the one
Whatever.
person in my school who wasn't.
Stay salty.
Little update, Nolan.
Are we, yeah, I just looked at it. Are we serious?
Matthew Boyd has allowed them to tie the game 4-4. It is bases loaded, bottom of the second one out
Oh, you got
for the
kidding me now.
Pirates.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's all Nolan.
The Nolan jinx, is that going to be a new thing? The Nolan jinx,
Dude,
the producer
Nolan, I
jinx
swear.
over there?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I really am. I should have
Hey.
knocked on wood.
They're making it either way. I mean,
So now it's the Charlie jinx. So you can't put it on me. It's not the Charlie jinx.
now I'm saying it's even though they're tied now, they're making the playoffs either way. I mean, the magic number 1 with 11 days, like it's a given, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like,
How about it's both of you?
I can take that.
yeah, we
live
can
with
take
that.
support
It's not
force
us,
on
right?
that.
It's not
me and
us.
you.
It's
It's-
not us.
We were
Charlie
the
and
ones
Nolan.
texting that way they went up 4-0. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I saw things about that. Cubs are going to miss the playoffs. Cubs are going to fall off the map, not even be near the playoffs. There's so much panic. There's so much panic around this fan base for
Yeah.
a team that has
Welcome
the
to Chicago
third,
sports.
that has the third or fourth best record in the NL, is a lock for the playoffs, and people are acting like the sky is falling.
If they were in the NL West, they'd be up 3 games right now for the division lead over the Dodgers, who are the reigning World Series champions,
So we're the
and the
third best,
Padres, who did the most at the trade deadline.
Unreal.
It's amazing.
It's
Y'all
unreal.
are a playoff
And there's
team,
no
and I
Justin
see
Steele.
Cubs fans complain more
Yeah,
than
no
Sox
Justin
fans.
Steele. That's the heart and soul of the team. To be quite honest with you,
That is the thing, like you guys don't have anything to complain about because
We have a lot to complain about.
No. But you're enjoying watching the kids play because there's not expectations.
True,
for this
fair,
team.
Yeah.
fair.
We freak
fair.
out whenever the littlest inconvenience goes our way. So
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you
people
mean.
with teams in contention tend to be a little more overcritical. I'd
you know,
say.
you,
yeah.
you give up a single up 6 in the 7th inning.
It's over.
and it's just like the
Why is
sky
this
is
guy
falling.
pitching?
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
You're washed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree.
It's all knee jerk. I think it's way overblown, but at the same time, I think it's more than inevitable at this point.
But yeah, that
Get
was
ready.
a terrible take by whoever that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Get ready to learn Iowa Cubs, buddy.
Oh, that's good. All right, I think that will do it for Bad Take Wednesday. Definitely got a lot of Chicago sports Bears themes this week. I bet you that's probably going to remain the case for probably a while here, unless they could turn around. That would be nice if they could do that.
yeah.
But we'll see if week 3 against the Cowboys is their good luck charm. If there's any team that could turn it around against, surely it's the Cowboys, right?
Surely.
Ha yee.
Don't call me
Against,
Shirley. Nolan.
against Matt Eberflus too.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a revenge game.
No way.
It's a revenge game.
All
Matt
right.
Eberflub.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that more as it comes. All right, I think switching gears back to NHL hour here. Did y'all listen to 32 Thoughts today? McDavid and Grzelcyk were on, speaking to Elliot Friedman and Kyle. And I would say we gained a heck of a lot more from that interview. We heard a lot of the same things we've been hearing from McDavid, how there's no rush in the process. There has been confirmation, though, that he will not be entering the season with the contract extension done. Like, we've heard rumblings of that, but he did confirm that pretty much in that interview that, contract's not going to be signed before the season. So the timeline on that is, they're not rushing the process there for McDavid. So he's looking for a deal that would be the best for him and his family. And he said once again that he is intent on winning in Edmonton this season, but he did add that beyond is a question mark.
Yeah,
He
those
did
next
say that.
3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
What do they look like in Edmonton? We don't know.
Yes,
That's right.
So
I believe there was a quote as well, straight from this episode. Yeah, I have all the faith in the world in this 25-26 season. Beyond that remains to be seen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, which that's sort of the first we kind of heard about that. I know Friedman and others have kind of been speculating that if he does stay in Edmonton, which they do seem to still lean towards that direction, that's probably going to be a shorter term deal. Exactly how many years, who knows, 3-4 years, maybe even less. But yeah, McDavid does seem to have some real concerns, with this team's ability to go all the way and win. By win, he means Stanley Cup. He's not just saying, being a playoff team is good enough at this stage. stage. They've been used to that. They need to go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. I think losing the past couple of years has sort of, changed that mindset there. So they've gotten as close as you can without going all the way. So, but no. And then Draisaitl sort of commented on that as well. They had both McDavid and Draisaitl in the interview. Actually, very curious to hear. Apparently Draisaitl and McDavid haven't had too much conversations about this. I would have assumed that they would have discussed the contract at a decent bit over the offseason, but I guess Draisaitl was saying when he was going through this last year that McDavid wasn't really in his business. So of course they'd have little dialogue about it, but he's kind of respected McDavid's privacy through this matter, and whatever decision he makes, I think you have to let McDavid's earned whatever decision he decides to make. He's given Edmonton everything, and if they can make it happen this year, great. If not, we'll see.
It's all up to Stan Bowman. Done.
Yes.
Done.
Things
So
are all
ominous.
up to Stan.
Yes.
That's not a place you want to be.
Which,
No.
as our CHR guest Greg Boysen said, if there's anyone who could find a way to fumble this, it would be
It'd be
Stan
Stan
Bowman.
Bowman.
It would be Stan
We've
Bowman.
seen it in Chicago, right? Probably should have won more than 3 cups in that dynasty era, but Stan Bowman found a way to screw that up, didn't he? So yeah, and I think a big area of concern, especially if that roster is the goaltending, right? The Oilers at the moment are going to stick with the Skinner Pickard tandem. It looks like,
He's not
but they have
man.
been looking at the market. They've been assessing the market. There is one goaltender whose name has been out there a lot of late, and that is Carter Hart, recently reinstated by the league, and it sounds like the Oilers will not be taking a look at him. You can understand that, right? With Hart, he's been away from the game for over a year, and there is some, there's some baggage there.
Right.
So you can imagine from the Oilers' perspective, that's already a franchise that's had some baggage behind a guy like Stan Bowman. So Carter Hart too, there might be some rust there, but look at his days in Flyers land. He was really solid, one of the best up and coming young goaltenders in the league. Definitely a guy who maybe could have solved the equation there, but I can understand for the Oilers that could also be a bit of a off ice distraction as well. So. But yeah, they will not be looking at Carter Hart. But there have been a lot of teams looking at him.
That's interesting. Yeah, I believe it might have been 32 Thoughts earlier this week. They had mentioned that they can definitely see Carter Hart going to an American franchise.
Yeah, I've heard Utah and Nashville brought up a lot.
Yeah. But they don't see any way that
it's not going to be Flyers. It's not going to be.
There's no signing in Canada for him, is what I've heard.
Or Canada, correct.
Yeah.
It's going to be a change of scenery, a fresh location for him. And I imagine a team that needs goaltending, which there are plenty of teams that do. But yeah, those could be some teams that they take a look at there in regards to Carter Hart. We shall see what happens in that regard. That's right.
How about a couple birthdays in the league today?
Nolan,
Birthdays?
why don't
We
you
giving
talk about the
birthday wishes?
birthdays?
We have a few birthdays. Happy birthday. 40th birthday to Alexander Ovechkin.
He's 40 years old now.
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Wow,
isn't
that
it?
makes me feel. I guess I'm half his age, about 22. But
that
makes me feel old.
The one thing I did want to mention on the Carter Hart front, that all these players that were in that scandal are eligible to sign October 15th.
Correct.
And they are eligible to play on December 1st.
Yeah, so there will be a waiting period, right? They won't be ready to go to start the season. Not just Carter Hart, but everyone involved. So, we'll see what happens in that regard.
But going back to the birthday front, happy birthday, Alexander Ovechkin, and happy birthday to Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews' birthday as well.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
It's kind of crazy how both of those.
I never noticed that they had the same. Are you kidding me?
that's a great
I never
hockey
noticed they
birthday
had the
right
same
there.
birthday.
Yeah, no, it's
That's hilarious.
It's a very cool tidbit. I remember all throughout the draft process they were talking about it, how Matthews and Ovechkin both had the same birthday, and it was both 2 days before the draft cutoff.
Yeah, the man who's probably going to steal I shouldn't say probably, the man who might steal Alex Ovechkin's goal record. We'll see if he can, win a Stanley Cup in that time and show up in the playoffs and the Olympic stage for the U.S. But no, happy birthday to Matthews and Ovechkin. How old is Matthews now? 27?
28.
28.
Wow.
Born in 97.
Wow. Even Matthews is 28 now. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
This is 10th season, right?
He should be 25.
Ninth season.
9th season.
So it
That's
feels
close.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of international stages, we just received some news today that there are countries and states vying for the chance to host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Chicago?
When will they get a tournament like this?
I mean, seriously, no, it's ridiculous that, Chicago hasn't hosted the World Juniors yet, and Chicago won't be bidding for something like the World Cup of Hockey. They did do the Frozen Four back in 2017, and I thought that was a complete success. Yeah. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of trying to get it to the World Juniors, they usually have 2 arenas. There are 2 big arenas around the Chicagoland area. you look at the
Allstate
United
Arena.
Center and you look at Allstate. I mean, those can both hold very big capacity.
It's a bit outside. It's not really Chicago, though.
And then with the Steel planning on moving into the new facilities that they're building at Fifth Third,
that could open up an opportunity.
There's going to be a whole block of hockey activity and teams that are going to be able to practice all week long they're going to have 4 sheets of ice on the same block, which is 2 blocks from the United Center.
I was going to say, you brought up
that being invested into bringing a big hockey community and the ability to host events in the West Loop is going to be huge.
I was going to say, you brought up the World Juniors. I do think that this Fifth Third Arena expansion, the Chicago Steel coming in too, will open up a door there for Chicago in the future to host a World Juniors tournament, which, my goodness gracious, will we ever be there for that? That would be
that would be
so
that would be
unreal.
amazing. I think we're going to try to get to the World Juniors in Minnesota this year, but love to see it in Chicago some year. That would be fantastic for sure.
I mean, you guys, I think I have a hot take. I don't think the Allstate Arena is suitable for a big competition like that solely because of how rickety it looks. I'm sorry.
You're not a big fan of Allstate Arena?
It is outdated.
What's their capacity?
It is old.
That's big. It can hold 15,000, 16,000.
It needs some major work. I mean, can it happen? Yeah, but as of right now, I mean, it just needs major updates. Like, I'm not very fond of it. It's a great concert venue, don't get me wrong, but it kind of reminds me of the opening scene of Happy Gilmore when they are doing that tryout. It just gives me that old, like, 80s, 90s vibes, which I mean is good for the nostalgia, but at the same time, it just but
does it move you?
Well,
it does not.
At the same time, when they were hosting World Juniors over the last 10 years in Vancouver, they went to Victoria, which is a WHL barn. If you look at Edmonton, they were supposed to host it also in Red Deer, which is very nearby, which is also a WHL barn. We're talking about it should be viable to have it at Rosemont, just because that's a sheet of ice. That is a professional sheet of ice, number one. Number two, can hold the capacity. And number 3, it's not even, you're moving over one suburb.
Yeah.
It's close to the airport.
It's close to transit.
It's
very close to transit, too.
It's accessible. It's very accessible.
Very accessible,
right.
Yes. So I just think it's kind of ridiculous at this point that they've gone to Buffalo and Minnesota before they've gone to Chicago.
Well,
big market, great for hockey, and a good location, not far from Canada too. So should get good attendance.
Another thing too, the NHL and NHLPA are hosting a workshop today in Toronto for the North American cities to kind of learn more about it, and then they are going to hold another one in Switzerland from the 22nd to the 23rd for the non-North American cities. This event is expected to take place in February of 2028. 8 nations will be featured in this and 2 host locations. So will there be one in the U.S. and overseas? Who knows?
I don't think it would be like that. Looking back at the last World Cup of Hockey, it was in Toronto and Montreal. So...
and that was back in 2016. So this will be the first one in 12 years and the first sort of mini tournament of the state since the 2025 4 nations. I'm excited to bring back the World Cup of Hockey. Right. I don't know where it was the past few years, but it's good to see 4 nations back, and this will be a better version of that, double the size and double the stakes. So I'm as close to Olympic hockey as you can get. So I'm really excited to have that back, and just the further emphasis on international hockey. There was a dark period there for a long time, I'd say 9 years between 16 and 25. So it's good to get it revived, good to see players back in the Olympics, and good to see the World Cup back.
So I would like to rework my take. I did not realize that the NHLPA, it was going to be more like a World Baseball Classic style, where they would have hosts one in Europe and one in North America. So I think that's super interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've seen them do the multi-country, Olympics and stuff, but those are always neighboring countries.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a lot of travel involved, a lot to figure out. So, I mean, it sounds awesome. Both sides get to see everything going on. Maybe you have the round robins played here, and then, one final. I mean, that's kind of like what they did in, like you mentioned, World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, no, I think the World Baseball Classic is super cool too, because like you get to watch baseball at 11 at night, 3 in the morning, and then you also get to watch it at 7 at night and then noon. And I mean, it's hot. It would be hockey all day. What's better than that?
I'd be absolutely down for
the
that.
best hockey all day as well.
We
best
will be
hockey all day.
seated. We will be
We
seated.
will absolutely be seated.
Yeah, and there's going to be, like, kind of how you said, the obvious round robin, elimination, and the championship game will occur in one of those cities, 12 days in duration, 17 games. And this is the 4th World Cup of hockey in history. The last ones were in 1996.
US won.
US won and beat Canada. 2004, where Canada won and beat Finland. And 2016,
That was a rough
where
one.
Canada won again and beat
That was a very
Team
rough one.
Europe. Yeah,
that was a rough one for the
watch.
US, yeah.
Rough watch
Wow,
for
they beat
US.
a continent.
Yeah,
These guys.
I love that actually. You know what? Like I wasn't sure if I loved it going in, but I thought it was pretty fun. I wouldn't do it again in the future. I think that's a one-time thing. Team Europe, whatever. But the Team North America, that was so much fun to watch.
dude.
That was so cool. But that's kind of a one-time thing. You want to see actual
That's
nations
one of
and
like
countries.
the biggest jerseys on my jersey wish list is a Team North America
Just
jersey.
gonna say I need
Yeah.
that jersey.
You know, it had so many stars on that. You look at McKinnon, you look at McDavid, you look at Matthews. Like those three are probably three of the best players in the NHL right now.
What was the requirement for that? Was it a U24?
U23.
U23,
U23.
all of North America.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that'd be
Such
that'd
a
be super
wild
cool.
concept that they just said, yeah, we're gonna do it like this. You know, I mean, it's very entertaining, obviously,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've never seen anything like that, and we'll never see it again. It was kind of a strange one-off.
For sure. A little bit of a segue here. How have we not talked about Kirill Kaprizov yet? We got to get our daily Kirill Kaprizov mention. I mostly saw this because I think this quote just had to be brought up on this show from Michael Russo, one of the top of Wild insiders. Right now, the Wild have not asked Kaprizov for a list, a trade list. Before asking for a list and checking it twice, I would have conversations with other teams, whether it's Carolina, New York, Chicago, LA. These are teams I think would have interest. Just to see Chicago once again brought up again, it's just to feed our delusions that it is possible. You know, is it wishful thinking? Maybe, but the fact that it's possible, that's enough to get me up in the morning.
You know, if you talk about it enough, you might manifest it.
destiny. You
Yeah.
beat me to it. Manifest
Great
destiny.
painting.
If you say it's going to happen enough times, it's going to happen, right? Delusion.
Delusion.
Yes.
Delusion.
But what do we think? Further Kaprizov talks. What do we think? Yeah.
I think if they don't get a deal done within the next couple of days, I think it's going to be, just detrimental to that team. And then you go further into the season and there's not a deal done, it's further detrimental. And I just think you could honestly see a cesspool of just unhappy fans, unhappy teammates, a terrible locker room.
Yeah.
And it'll happen really fast. It's like, a snowball going down an avalanche.
No, for sure. Definitely something that, again, ideally to get it sorted as soon as possible. It does feel like there's a bit of like a game going on, but of negotiations, battle negotiations between the Kaprizov and McDavid camps. So they're kind of waiting to see who takes the bait first in terms of what that number is going to look like between the agents. Again, a lot of that's just me speculating, but it does kind of feel like that could be a part of why we're seeing this waiting game right now of sorts between the sides. And why neither's in a rush, though I'd say the Kaprizov camp, we probably see something done there quicker than the McDavid camp, for sure. Anyway, we had to get our little Kaprizov talk in.
Yeah, always. I
for
mean,
sure.
it's such a big story, and every day we kind of learn a little bit more.
We learn more nuggets. We get more
little
details that are
tidbits
worth
every day.
bringing
We're
up,
starting
for
to piece
sure.
the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, for sure.
Pieces are coming in, and I just think, obviously he has all the leverage in this situation, and but it does behoove him to, if he wants to be playing hockey this season, like for the Wild, it behooves him to, just work with his agent and come to a solution that, I mean, obviously McDavid, you can't just wait around for that to happen to, for it to influence the price of this deal. So I think he just has to be kind of not agreeable with the Wild, I don't want to say, but he can't let can't let this just take over all of their energy and their focus in that front office.
Yeah.
He really has to
That's
be
definitely been something with the McDavid side where he doesn't want to let this impact the season, like the 25-26 season in Edmonton. And I could definitely feel like I could see this Kaprizov situation having more of an effect on the team, I would say, than the McDavid situation.
Yeah, and
support to have that trust.
You don't
there,
want
right?
anyone souring on you because you're trying to make the best decision for your financial future. Like it could be, the teammates, the front office, but fans could start souring the longer this plays out on, do we want this guy around if he's going to be such a big distraction? And that just causes more internal turmoil, from the media, from the front office, and just more pressure on him.
Fellas, I think it's time for another segment. Yes, we're doubling our segment talk today. It is now time for Weigh In Wednesday. As the name suggests, where we weigh in on any topics of our concerns, anything that we feel like we need to get off our chests. A little weekend check-ins midway through the week, for sure. I think I'll get the ball rolling for this one. My little Wednesday weigh-in. I have to say it. I've already said it on the show, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's important to be said. Man, I love Frank Nazar. I love that kid. I love Frank the Tank. It's just good to see it in person. Like everything you think about a player, you gain more respect when you see how they kind of conduct themselves. Like when the cameras are off, there are cameras on there, but just how they kind of conduct themselves with the fans and even like their teammates kind of behind the scenes. And he just seems like a really good guy. Not just like his game, but off the ice, he seems like a really good chap, really good character. And I've just gained a lot more respect from him. Just seeing how he kind of worked with the fans. I think that's a leader right there. That's a guy that you want to have on your team with your franchise. And I have nothing but good things to say about that guy. So I just wanted to glaze Frank Nazar for my weigh-in Wednesday. I know it's a bit repetitive, but you know what? You repeat things for a reason. I think it's worth giving Frank his flowers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stick taps to Frank.
Yes.
Does he know the glaze?
Frank Nazar in the chats as we speak.
Frank
is real.
I want to see that right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
we love some Frank around here. All right. I guess I will take the next on my weigh-in Wednesday. Kind of a little rant, Mine is just I am appalled at the organization and I guess, how would I call it? The spreadsheeting of Illinois Department of Revenue. Because I think it was 4 years ago, I did a tax return in 2021. And this summer,
doing tax talk,
a tax return, like from my job when I was 21. And this summer, they sent me a letter saying, "Hey, we accidentally gave you, $650 extra than we were supposed to on your tax return for this year. So yeah, we're gonna need that back." And it's just like
4 years later, too.
4 years later, you're like, "Oh, you gave me this tax return. Everything's cool. I submitted all my documents." And then this summer, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna need that 650 back because we don't know."
Brutal.
I was waiting for the but. What's the catch
Yeah,
here?
it's basically because they don't know.
The bait and switch.
They didn't enter things correctly back in
they screwed it up,
2021,
of
and they
course.
overpaid me. So now they're like, "Yeah, like you still got that? Let's give us that
their
money."
mistake,
That's
man.
what-
Like that's come on. That's
that
ridiculous.
should be completely
That's ridiculous.
off, off limits to be
Yeah,
like,
come
"Yeah,
on.
we messed up and we paid you too
So
much."
you have to
4
pay the
years
price
ago."
for us
Like,
messing up.
That money's not
Yeah.
still here. What are you guys
come
talking
on.
about? You guys have all this
ridiculous.
revenue, and it's just ridiculous. And then they said, "Oh, we'll just subtract it from next year's tax return total, so you'll make $600 less on your tax return." And I said, "Okay, cool." 2 weeks later, they're like, "Nah, we actually sent your 600 to collection, so you're gonna have to start paying us soon."
Brutal.
And
Brutal.
It's just a nightmare scenario because Illinois cannot
Nightmare fuel.
figure anything out financially. So they have to beg their residents for more money.
This is nothing new.
It's unreal, dude. Sorry to get like money and tax talk in here,
Hey,
but
it's real life, man.
Adulting.
it truly has just destroyed. Not destroyed the week. Put a damper on the week, I'll say. There's hope. It's only Wednesday.
Yes.
Maybe I win $1 million.
You'll get back.
Maybe
to
I win $1
Charlie.
million tomorrow, and this is all
You
no
never
big
know.
deal. Yeah,
You never know.
Maybe you win the next Powerball. Yeah. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Let's go.
You have your fingers crossed for you, Charlie.
Buying a ticket after this.
All right. Who's next?
Let that go.
All right. So, Wednesday, middle of the week, lots of stuff going on. I'm stressed, but,
Aren't we all?
I'm here. I'm kind of in that little, not midlife crisis because, 22 years old here.
Feeling 22.
I'm kind of in that almost quarter life crisis era where it's you try so hard and you work very hard. You're putting in the work.
But in the end, it
offsite
doesn't even matter.
that nobody sees, but it kind of feels like it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm kind of feeling like Lucas Reichel here a little bit. Like you put in all the work, you're trying everything that you possibly can, but everybody just kind of wants to focus on the downs and the negatives and what you're not doing. So, I mean, that goes without saying for everything, but I just feel like I could be a little bit more respected and everything, but respect is earned and not gained, but I feel like I've been working my ass off. So, Yeah.
I see the work you've been putting in, and I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
see the work. Yes.
Thank
absolutely.
you guys.
Me
You
as
know,
well.
Yes, sir.
it's not obvious to everyone. Some people are kind of, blind to it, but we get it. We get it. We're here, we up, and you know what? I'm going to keep proving people wrong.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
No, we're all
Stick
here
taps,
for
Nat.
it. Stick taps. W Nats in the chat
W
right
Nats.
now. I know you hate being embarrassed, but I'm going to embarrass you here.
This is
W
the-
Nats in the
Spam.
chat.
You know,
W.
this is the one time where I will take it because I'm honestly fed up.
Oh, I love that. I love it. All right. Yes, sir. Nolan.
Nolan,
we're
it's your
ready for
turn.
my
Your turn.
take. All
Yes,
right.
sir,
So
Nolan.
I was having a little bit of a hard time sleeping last night just because it felt like it was 85 degrees in my room. I even had the windows
Was
open.
it Frick Days' Aura that kept you up?
No,
Yeah.
surprisingly not.
No.
No,
Fiora.
it was the fact that it felt like it was like 85 degrees in my room, and I'm kind of the person who wants to sleep when it's 60 degrees in my room.
Perfect.
You need it cold. You need it cold.
I need
Yeah.
it like ice cold. Yeah. So as I was
Ice,
tossing,
ice, baby.
What's cooler than being cool?
Ice cold.
like it.
So my big thing last night, I was tossing and turning, and I was debating on what to put in here, and then a thought got into my mind, and I was talking to Justin about this a little bit on the way in here. Justin really doesn't know about the take, but how much are you guys fed up with the Winter Classics and the Stadium Series and all the outdoor games?
I don't want it in
too much.
Florida.
It's
I
too
don't want
much.
it in Florida.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So I think there's an untapped market that could definitely benefit the NHL. We saw it, I believe, in the 2014 Heritage Classic between the Canucks and the Senators, where they played at BC Place, and because of inclement weather, they had to close the dome. I think the NHL should tap into those markets in the NFL stadiums where they're playing, I give the example of playing at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. The Dallas Stars play the Minnesota Wild, having the Minnesota North Stars rivalry at that stadium where it's 100,000 people playing in that stadium. I think that would be so cool. I mean, you could go down the list. Like you go to SoFi Stadium in LA, you could do LA Anaheim or something like that, LA San Jose. I made the troll one of going to Arizona, and you can play Utah versus Winnipeg because they both left Arizona.
First, Winnipeg. What,
at University
what are we
of Phoenix
doing
Field?
here?
Yes, exactly. Or you could go to the Georgia Dome, and you can do Calgary versus Winnipeg because
Okay,
they
there we
both
go.
left Atlanta too.
Shut
Or
up.
I also saw the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans because they've got such a big French culture down there. You could do the Habs versus the former Nordiques, now known as the Avalanche.
Right.
So
I like that a lot.
I think it would be super cool, even though that there's some markets you could look at it. We could get into expansion talks if we want to. I don't think we have to right now.
Oh boy.
We could
We'll
go
have
down
plenty
the
of
road.
time for expansion
Yeah.
talk this year. I
But,
promise you that.
I
Yeah.
even look at a place like Indianapolis, the Lucas Oil Stadium. I've
Remember
been there
the
before.
Racers? The Indianapolis Racers. Are you familiar with the Racers?
I'm not a
The
familiar.
WHA, that's where Wayne Gretzky played before Edmonton. It was the Indianapolis Racers.
know-
He played 8 games with them, had 3 goals, 3 assists in the 78-79 season.
Of course,
Dude,
you know the stat line.
That's Wayne Gretzky. I know
There
Wayne
you go.
Gretzky.
I knew he played in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
Yeah.
the team was called. But you
Yeah.
look at a
It's
place like
Indy 500,
Indianapolis.
like racing.
Yeah.
Like
So
the Indy
you look
Fuel.
at a place like
Yeah.
Indianapolis. What are the 2 teams that are closest to Indianapolis in the NHL?
The Hawks and some Ohio.
Red
Oh,
Wings.
Red Wings. Yeah.
No, it is the Hawks
Blues?
and the Blue Jackets.
Oh, yeah, right.
So now you could do Bedard versus Fantilli on a national stage
Indy.
in Indy.
Okay. Oh, like
So-
the Colts.
Yeah,
the
at
football
the
stadium?
Colt Stadium.
Yeah.
You've got 65,000 people in that stadium. I just think it's an untapped market that the NHL hasn't done yet, and I just think it would be super cool if they actually, had like a college basketball feel. Like you
Yeah,
look at the
yeah.
Final Four, and the Final Four is in all these big stadiums, and they just haven't tapped into it yet. I mean, I'm a marketing genius now.
I like this idea a lot, actually. I like how you connect it to and you could do it that time of year too, right? In March, or would that take away from? You probably wouldn't want to do it.
It might
during
take
March
away
Madness
from
with the ratings and stuff.
I don't know what kind of scheduling it would be because
Yeah.
obviously you've got in October or November. Sometimes it goes
February.
into
Do it in
March.
February. Yeah.
Sometimes it goes into March too with the Heritage Classic.
Yeah.
Then obviously you got the Winter Classic January 1st, January 2nd, or December 31st, and then you have the Stadium Series, which is normally late February, early March. So I don't know how it would fit into the schedule, but I just think it would be such a cool dynamic.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, so is this going to be? You think this is like a Stadium Series idea for you? Yeah.
It wouldn't even be a Stadium Series.
Winter
idea.
Classic. A Winter Classic.
No, not even the Winter Classic. It could be its own standalone thing.
Oh, okay. Forgive me.
I mean, it could replace the Stadium Series, but I just think it's so untapped. You get like 100,000 people into an enclosed place. I actually did my research last night. They were doing this. They did it at the 2010 World Championship between Germany and the U.S. And the U.S. was complaining because the crowd was a factor. Mm-hmm. I just think getting that kind of environment in there would be absolutely unreal for the NHL.
I was gonna say I have a hot take here.
Imagine complaining because the crowd is a factor. Sorry.
Ooh, hot take.
I have a hot take. I think it should just be the Winter Classic in terms of outdoor games. I don't think we
course.
need the Stadium Series. I don't think we need any other. I like your idea if it's like a Winter Classic, but I just don't think we need more outdoor game series. Like the Winter Classic, I feel like it used to mean something. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything anymore. Like it clearly still does, but I don't know about you. I just don't get up for it the same way I used to. I mean, it was in Chicago the past year, so maybe a bad time to bring that up. But like, and even just some of the locations they've been doing too. Like, it's the Winter Classic. Like, they should take place in locations that are colder, and it's a classic, so it should be teams that matter. Not teams that matter, but like the big market teams that have been around, the historic teams, not these.
Teams that matter.
I get we want to grow the game. I understand that, but it's literally called the Winter Classic. Like, live up to the name.
Yeah,
and I think it should be the only outdoor game. I don't think we need these Stadium Series games. Like, it was fun at first. I enjoyed the 2014 one because it was Chicago, Pittsburgh, but I've enjoyed some other Stadium Series games. I think the one last year with the Red Wings and Blue Jackets was a lot of fun too. But I don't think we need all these outdoor games. I think it should just be one a year. The Winter Classic on January 1st, not New Year's Eve. Why was it on New Year's Eve? No New Year's Eve. January 1st, Winter Classic, done.
I also think you can expand this into Canada too. You look at with the Toronto Blue Jays Rogers Center, that is a dome. You look at Montreal and the old Montreal Olympic Stadium, that is a dome that holds 57,000 people. Imagine 57,000 Habs fans.
Oh.
I
My
know.
worst nightmare right there.
It could be in Canada. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, I think there should be some in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, why? Yeah, no, absolutely. No question
I just
about
think
it.
they're gatekeeping it to the U.S. Obviously, the U.S. has the majority of the markets, but like the Canadian markets are debatably the most highest passionate.
Oh no, I will give them their credit. No, they are the
100%.
most passionate.
Yeah.
I will give the Canadians that. Even the French Canadians, I will give them that. There's no questioning their passion. Absolutely.
So I think this is just I think it's a super cool idea, and I really hope that it somehow, some way, someone from the NHL is listening to the podcast and gives me my flowers in about 10 years.
You know what? I'd be
think
willing
they
to
are.
make exception
will.
to bring back the Heritage Classic on a yearly basis. Maybe not every year, but that's one I'd be willing to make exception for more than the Stadium Series. I would say.
Yeah,
I would say.
I like the Heritage better. A Heritage Classic and a Winter Classic.
Like,
we don't need the Stadium
What
Series.
was it, 23-24, that Oilers Flames one? That was a fun one.
That was fun.
I enjoyed that
Like,
one.
Maybe we could play the Red Wings at one point in one of those
Yeah.
instead of a Winter Classic, because they love putting us in those as well.
Absolutely, for sure.
And then Nolan, I just wanted to add, what are your thoughts on the NHL doing outdoor games in Europe in like Champions League stadiums?
Oh, I like that.
Now we're thinking outside the box.
Because that's something I want to see.
I definitely think that would be so cool. I think the UFC is starting to do it now. I know one of my favorite fighters, Paddy Pimblett, wants to sell out Anfield at Liverpool. Obviously, me being a big Liverpool fan, I mean that's 65,000 people. I think that'd be super cool. You look at like Santiago Bernabeu in Madrid, but at the same time, do you think those conditions would be feasible?
I think a few places in Germany, depending on the time of the like Allianz Arena.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be unreal. Imagine Lucas Reichel is playing in that.
Lucas Reichel, who is he?
Sure. Yeah, like a
I
big
don't
Premier
know
League
who that
stadium,
is.
Champions League.
Yeah, you look at Wembley Stadium in England. That holds how many? 80,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine the European crowd gets really into it too? If like all the chants, the passion's very clear there.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
that would be absolutely
I just think
electric.
logistically though, I know the NHL's played games in Europe in the preseason, but to do like a big time outdoor game like that, it would take a lot of planning. But I'm sure they'd be able to figure it out. The NFL's done it in recent years. I look at the Bears game last year in London. They actually won that game. Shocker, but
Shocking.
I like to see the NHL
They've only
experiment
won
there.
one game since.
But yeah, then they get the ice to figure it out. Like it would be a lot to plan out, but hey, it's a National Hockey League. They can figure it out.
I think it's in their 10-year plan. I think in the next 10 years we could either see it announced or see one of those games happen in Europe.
And you've already seen like the development with that. They've started to play in Stockholm for their global series. They've started to play in Prague. I definitely think they can make a step up just because of the amount of hockey fans out there.
Right.
Hey, the word impossible says I'm possible. So it's possible.
Hey,
It's clear.
yeah.
It clearly
I like it.
is.
I like it.
So
Thank
hopefully we'll
you.
see
Thank
it
you,
sometime
Justin.
in the 2020s. That'd be nice. Mr. Charlie, what do we have cooking on this Wednesday, Weber's Wagers? What do we have planned here? What do we got on the docket?
Hopefully some winners, man. I mean, we went 2-0 Monday night. Cubs money line, ching it, cha-ching. And what was the other one? I believe it was Chargers -3.
Yeah,
The Cubs have been giving you better
was also-
results than the Bears so far.
100%.
Yeah,
The
for
Cubs
sure.
have been much
Yeah.
nicer to my money than the Bears this year.
There you go.
That's to be expected.
Yeah, shocker.
All right. Before I get into any of these gambling topics, I have to give a disclaimer. The following content may discuss topics related to gambling. Gambling can be addictive and not suitable for all individuals. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly and be aware of the risk.
Thank you for that, Charlie.
Beautifully said.
All right.
As
I am
always.
very excited for today because my boys are back on the pitch in their first Champions League group draw game, and it is Bayern Munich against Chelsea today at 2 p.m.
Chelsea Dagger.
They actually do play Chelsea
Had to
Dagger.
get the Hawks in there. So my boys are back. Neuer is starting in net. Harry Kane up front as the striker.
No relation to Patrick Kane, right?
No relation to Patrick.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Amazing goal scorer as well.
He is, yeah.
Shootout specialist as well.
So some comps
he's,
there.
He's
There's
on the
some
penalty
comps.
spot. Yeah, another
Okay.
Kane to bring us good fortune, hopefully.
All right.
And yeah, we are taking Bayern Munich money line versus Chelsea today in the Champions League season opener for them. And the line is -130 for Bayern Munich.
I think
so
you got to give a
slight
little bit
favorite.
of a disclaimer for soccer, how soccer wagers happen as well.
That is a good point, Nolan. So in soccer, you can either bet on either team to win the match or on a tie. So that is called a three-way money line, and it basically gives you better odds than if you were to bet on either side of the game. Obviously, you couldn't bet on soccer without a tie as an option unless it was a final of a competition. So we are avoiding the tie, hopefully, and we are just taking Bayern Munich to win the game outright, -130 odds. And then
That's all you got? Or you got one more?
yeah, that's all for soccer today. And then I just want to check the pitching matchup of another game for the third pick. But my second pick is the Seattle Mariners to beat the Kansas City Royals today. The Mariners have just been one of the hottest teams in baseball since the deadline, and they're on a complete tear. Royals are kind of looking in from the outside of the AL wildcard race, and I think today the Mariners just do a little too much, and their pitching has always been better. Their bullpen is a bit more impressive than the Royals, so we're going to take the Mariners to win today against Kansas City. And then I also wanted to add the New York Yankees run line today. So they need to win by 2 or more for these bets, -1.5 run line, and they are at the Minnesota Twins today up in Minneapolis. Luis Gil versus Taj Bradley on the mound. Luis Gil, former Rookie of the Year winner for the Yankees, so we're taking them.
He's a Calder winner? Yeah.
Yeah, Calder winner, exactly. So we're going to take the former Rookie of the Year to, I believe he's this start, then one more start for the Yankees as their season's about to wrap up. So his second to last start of the season for Luis. He's going to make it a good one, get all that good preparation ready for the playoffs for the Yankees. And yeah, Yankees -1.5 at the Twins is the third pick of today.
Very nice, Charlie. Excellent job. Well done. And I wish you the best of luck with those bets.
Thank you. We're going 3-0 today.
The best of luck with those bets. That's a bit of a mouthful. Yeah.
Best of luck with those bets.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yes, sir. Before we go, let's speed run some more NHL topics here. We got a lot of comments and things coming out from Media Day, Content Day for a lot of teams today, with training camp on the horizon. For most teams, it starts tomorrow, and today is kind of a day for those initial media pressers. We got really funny ones in Toronto, actually. I got to give him credit here. Craig Berube was asked about his comments about the Core 4, how he doesn't have to deal with that anymore in Toronto with Martyr gone. So no more Core 4 Toronto. He says he's excited not to have to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, excited to never utter that phrase again. Right?
No more Core 4. They'll probably just invent a new Core 4 there. Maybe Matthew Nyes is the new Core 4 member, and they'll just keep that. Or they'll make it Riley.
Bobby McCann.
Yeah. Bobby, what?
I don't know. We're throwing people out there. Might as well.
David Kampf.
Blackhawks legend.
Yeah, I don't think he played a whole ton towards the end of the year for them.
No,
last
he
year.
didn't. No,
Yeah.
that's a guy who could be phased out. There's a lot of competition for roster spots in Toronto, and not really enough spots. So I could see a guy like Kampf maybe being on the move. Yeah,
I can see him in Europe. Yeah,
Europe, future European legend.
Yeah, I don't see him wanting to be in the A. I kind of see him as a I'll go back to Europe.
He'll be
kinda
cooking
guy.
with Lucas Reichel on the Shanghai Dragons next year, I imagine.
Ni hao.
Yeah, so
Don't
best of luck
scare
there.
her.
I just had to rate.
At this point, I'm just so I'm done. Like
I had to rage
can't.
bait there. I apologize.
Can't. No,
Yeah.
the rage bait will not happen. There is no rage baiting anymore. I can't. Like it. Whatever happens with my boy. But yeah, you know the vibes.
Well, yeah, best of luck there. And we do have some Matthew Tkachuk news. He had surgery. He will be out until at least December, which honestly, as Boysen said, yes, he's missing some action here, but that man's played a lot of hockey this past few years.
Yes,
It actually could be a good opportunity for him to sort of reset and have fresher legs when not only for the Panthers need him come playoff time, but for when Team USA needs him in the Olympics in February. So should be well rested. I hope we see him at 100% health in the Olympics this year and not playing, the way Foreign Nations trying to play through something when he probably should have been. So I give him credit for trying, but probably wasn't the right decision there. And it worked out in the end for him. He did miss, the rest of the regular season, but came back for the playoffs and won, back-to-back cups in Florida. So worked out nicely for him. But some Tkachuk news there.
Absolute warrior.
The recently retired Mark Giordano has been hired by the Leafs. Good to see him continuing his career.
Norris winner, Mark Giordano.
That 2019, was it? He had 70 points that year or something like that. Over 70 points at the Calgary Flames. I wonder if he likes Giordano's pizza in Chicago. Has he tried it? Like when he comes to Chicago, does he try Giordano's pizza? That's a question mark, right?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I think Illuminati's clears, but I think Giordano's is a solid backup for Tish Pizza.
Pequod clears.
Pequod's is also
Pequod's
delicious.
is overrated.
I think I have Lou's at 1A, Pequod's at 1B.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right.
Another big thing that I just saw over the social media timeline, David Pastrnak. It has been announced that he will miss the first few days of injury or training camp with tendonitis.
Oh wow! Do we just training camp? Do we know? Is that the timeline?
It just said first few days of training camp. It wasn't an actual day. And then bouncing off of Pastrnak, what should be current captain of the Bruins, to a former captain of the Bruins, Zdeno Chara has been hired by the Boston Bruins.
Oh, very nice. What role?
Good to see him go back there.
Yeah, no, I like that. To continue his career at the Bruins beyond the playing game. What's his role? Yeah.
Just working with player development.
Oh, very
Nice.
cool. Okay. He'll be able to work with the young defenseman there in the Bruins. Very nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Very excited about Mason Lowry. I don't know. That might just be me personally, but I like Mason Lowry. And
He's solid. He's solid. Yeah.
Speaking of former Boston Bruins, there was a quote from Marchand today on Ask about how long he wants to play in the league, and he said,
He'll play until he gets
until they
kicked
kick
out.
me out.
I saw that quote.
Won't let me
That's
take
classic.
the ice
It wasn't
anymore.
tell you how long that deal was he signed there. It's like I think we'll be seeing him play for quite a while longer.
Yeah. No, I think the 6 years was outrageous. But
Do you think there's a chance he plays the full 6 years? Think there's a
No.
chance he does?
I think he
No.
will.
I think there's a chance in everything. I don't know if it's
I mean,
a
why
very
would you
big
sign a
chance.
6-year
but
deal if there wasn't at least on the docket? I mean, does he probably know? But
Probably
you
for
never know.
LTIR stuff. That
Yeah,
would be my
maybe.
best
Yeah.
assumption.
So future,
43 at the end of the deal.
Yeah, that's insane.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't see that.
Yeah, well, when the Phoenix Coyotes return, that'll be good. That'll be a nice contract for them to acquire when he's retired. Yeah, that was an old joke back at the other Coyotes would always acquire retired players' contracts.
Their favorite move.
Yeah, like Hossa, Chara, guys like that. They'd always do. Datsuk, a ton of guys. Yeah.
Retired player is my second favorite player next to player to be named later.
I think future
Wait, what about
considerations.
cash considerations?
Yeah.
That's the best.
Considerations,
Nobody
too.
beats future. Where is future considerations these days? I don't know. He's always moving around.
Future considerations is the best, man.
We had him for a bit last year. But then we traded him away. So best of luck to him. And some Olympic news. Team USA has officially announced their coaching staff. We got Mike Sullivan as the head coach, new coach of the Rangers, a former two-time champion of the Pittsburgh Penguins. David Quinn is the assistant. That's curious. He's also the assistant under him in New York, and he's the assistant. We were curious.
yeah,
All right.
interesting,
And then
how that
John
works.
Hines and 2016 World Cup of Hockey legend John Tortorella is on the staff. Wow, that's a very Rangers-looking staff there, it must be said. Very Rangers-heavy for Team USA. I wasn't planning on cheering for the Rangers this year, but I guess how the team performs could be a good indicator of how the U.S. does in the Olympics. So
also,
we might be having to pull for them a little bit. Yeah.
Full tweet from Frank Saravalli, also including some of the management that is in there as well.
Okay.
GM will be Bill Guerin, GM of the Minnesota Wild.
Greg Boysen was a big fan of Bill Guerin, was he?
No.
Yeah.
Also on the management staff, New Jersey Devils GM Tom Fitzgerald, New York Rangers GM Chris Drury, Edmonton GM, he who shall not be named, Bill Zito with the Florida Panthers.
Voldemort is the Oilers GM?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. And Chris Kelleher and John Van Beesbrook.
All right. Nice. I would say it's a solid. I mean, is Bill Guerin the best option? There's question marks there, but I'd say that's a pretty solid staff. I think. Yeah, I'd take it. What do we think about the staff, coaching staff? I do like Sullivan at the forefront. That's a really experienced guy. They could get the job done. That should be a good hire for the Rangers. I think if they're to turn their season around, I think there's a good chance he'll be able to do so. So we'll definitely be monitoring their progress this year and how their season goes there for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think just my personal opinion on the coaching staff. It just seems like it's just a bunch of older guys. You want to have like an older leadership group, and I think it's super interesting in my opinion. They didn't go for a younger guy. Like let's say, I believe it was Ryan Warsofsky who was coaching for the U.S. at the World Championship, who is the current coach of the San Jose Sharks.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So I just think it's super interesting that they went, all older guys compared to, not bringing in a young talent at coach.
Yeah, and maybe that'll reflect on the roster too. Who knows?
Patrick Kane? Question mark.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What I was thinking. Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
We shall see. Hitting the rumor here, the rumor mill here. We're still waiting on a big contract extension in New Jersey. I didn't even see his name on the training camp roster, but Luke Hughes' contract via Pierre LeBrun, insider Pierre LeBrun, is expected to be long term as the two sides continue to grind away at it. So we're still waiting on the deal to get done. Training camp is on the precipice here, so it's now or never.
So I did a little bit of research on this before the podcast. This has actually happened before with current New Jersey Devils. I believe it was last year or 2 years ago. Dawson Mercer went a couple days in the training camp without being signed. Yeah. And then in 2021, Jesper Bratt went 9 days without being signed. And he honestly, Jesper Bratt is the best player in the NHL. The acronym there. No, it's an acronym all throughout the Twitterverse. There's some like big Jesper Bratt fan, but you could argue that he is probably their best forward.
He underrated, one of the more. I don't even know if he's underrated anymore. I feel like we've been saying Jesper Bratt's underrated for a while. It gets to the point where everybody calls you underrated. You're not seeing Nicholas Chalmers in Chicago. Everybody always say he's so underrated, but everybody's saying it.
Yeah, so, it was kind of like the what happened with Alexander Barkov like the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's no longer
Sebastian Aho.
He's getting his flowers now. Aho too, guys like that. So I think Jack Hughes at his best is their best forward, but he's not always available. Whereas Bratt is consistently, he plays the full 82, hardly ever deals with injuries, very durable player. So and a bit more all-around game, maybe not quite the offensive ceiling of Jack Hughes, but no, 6th-round pick too. It's crazy what he's been able to do with NHL. Gotta give him credit. One of the better players in the 16 draft, I believe. So
and another thing to tie into with Jesper Bratt, I mean, he was training with Anton Frundell this year.
So I did not know that. Oh, that's good.
So
that's good for
very
him.
Good,
that's a good player from
Jesper Bratt is the Swedish standard of off-season training. He is like the guy you want to look up to. So it means it's good on Anton Frundell, right?
Yeah,
that's good for him. Absolutely, no, good guy to train with, learn from, and maybe try to emulate a little bit.
Absolutely,
just wishing the best of luck in his season over there in Sweden. All right, that was a big one.
Yeah,
big show today. Big Hawks hour, big NHL hour. A lot to cover. We'll have plenty more to cover on Friday as training camp gets underway around the league. There'll be a lot more storylines to get into. I think that's a good kind of spot to call it for today. And, again. Big shout out to CHR legend Greg Boysen for joining the show.
Greg.
One of the best guests we have, and always welcome back. We're looking forward to talking to him again in the future. And best of luck with his gigs at Second Balcony in Blackhawk Uprighting. Be sure to check that out. Please implore you to check that out. One of the best covering the Blackhawks for sure. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, we appreciate it. I believe we're at 956. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers. So,
we're there. We can smell
help us get there. We're really close.
There.
If we could get there by
Tell your friends.
I believe we play the Panthers October 7th. If we could get to 1,000 by then, that'd be sick.
That'd be awesome.
I think we could do it. We got a few weeks to do it, so
preseason
hasn't even started yet. So.
And another big thing on the plug standpoint, just download our podcast on Apple Podcasts.
It helps a
And
lot.
Yes.
leave a 5-star
Apple,
review on Spotify and Apple
5-star
Podcasts.
rating and review.
We are currently shooting up the rankings. We're at 127 right now, but I want to see
We
us
could do
at
better.
least
We could
crack
do
the
better.
top 100.
Yes.
You know,
Job's not finished.
I
I
job
see
finished.
126 names ranked ahead of us. That's
Absolutely.
not good
That
enough.
is
So
good
you
enough.
as CHR, if you're listening
Yes.
to this on Apple Podcasts, please download the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a 5-star review on Spotify as well.
Natalie, what does nothing beat?
Nothing beats a CHR merch drop for the second time this show. So if I have to keep saying it, you guys aren't doing it enough. So please, for the love of God, do it.
You're getting better and better at that accent. I literally feel like I'm talking to Hermione right now.
If you guys do not buy this merch, I will actually be under your beds. I will be under your beds.
Jesus.
And I
Oh boy,
will,
this got dark.
Oh, jeez.
I will be under your beds, in your walls. I will be everywhere. So buy it, please, and thank
Please.
you.
Please.
Please.
You heard the woman. And one last thing. Hype up the video. You can hype up your favorite creators after the video is live on YouTube 3 times a week. So if you want to hype up this video 3 times or hype up each CHR show of the week, you could do that once. So we really appreciate that as well. All right, we will be back Friday, baby.
Frondell Friday.
Frondell Friday.
Friday.
That's right. We'll be back to break down the early days of Blackhawks training camp and more. See you then. Thank you.
Appreciate
and goodbye.
it. Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.
See ya.
Take care.